Chapter 179. Achoo! 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 Chu Xiaoyang inexplicably sneezed a few times, waking up Chen Baiyun who was sleeping beside him. Did your highness catch a cold? You're already so old, yet you're still kicking off the blanket. Chen Baiyun gave a gentle smile and pulled the blanket over him. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes looked at the ceiling of the tent and reached out to hug Chen Baiyun. He stroked her hair and absent-mindedly said, "Did this king wake you up? You should sleep for a bit longer. Your highness, if you have something unhappy, you can talk to Yun. Yun wants to help you solve your problems." Chen Baiyun thoughtfully leaned into his embrace. Hey, hey. Chu Xiaoyang gave a deep laugh, but it was filled with anger. Chen Baiyun immediately understood. Did elder sister make your highness unhappy again? Your highness, if elder sister has done something wrong, Yun is willing to apologize for elder sister. She said this as she began to struggle. Chu Xiaoyang tightened his grip on her and unhappily said, "This matter has nothing to do with you. It was that cheap woman Qin Ning's mistake, so why do you have to take it for her? Your highness, elder sister, she..." Chen Baiyun wanted to say something, but Chu Xiaoyang's cold eyes swept over her. His eyes were filled with a cold intent. This king has already said, "You're not allowed to mention a single word about her." His voice was filled with threats and anger. "Yes, your highness." Chen Baiyun lowered her head and revealed a proud smile. "Go to sleep." Chu Xiaoyang closed his eyes, but he couldn't fall asleep no matter how he tossed and turned. His heart felt heavy, like there was a large stone pressing down on it. "Your highness." Chen Baiyun couldn't sleep either. She thought of the news that Lan Xiang had brought back today and felt her chest fill up. Thinking of how his highness was going to teach Qin Ning how to ride a horse tomorrow, she went crazy with jealousy. She hated Qin Ning and hated the eldest princess even more. She could not understand why the eldest princess liked Qin Ning and why she treated Qin Ning so well. She even ordered his highness to teach Qin Ning how to ride a horse and even arranged a hunt, but she was not allowed to follow. She had seen Qin Ning's face before. If it wasn't for Qin Ning being stupid and covering her face with red and green rouge, she would not have been able to enter his highness' eyes so easily. If his highness saw Qin Ning's face, would he still love her like this? The more she thought about it, the more uneasy she became. She bit her handkerchief and sobbed softly. "Yun, why are you crying for no reason?" Chu Xiaoyang heard her suppressed crying and turned her face. He saw that she was like a weeping beauty, looking very pitiful. He reached out his fingers to gently wipe away her tears, but the more he wiped, the more tears there were. He Yun's Tian. And Chu Yang's. Yun's Chu, King Yun, Chu Yang's, Chu. Chu Yun's Ning, Ling, Yun, King Chu. Yun, Chu. When did this king say he didn't like you? But the eldest princess doesn't like Yun. The eldest princess asked you to teach elder sister how to ride a horse, but she didn't teach Yun. The eldest princess also told your highness not to bring Yun on this spring hunt, clearly showing that she hates Yun. I don't know how Yun has offended the eldest princess to make her hate Yun this much. Chen Baiyun's act was real and her voice was filled with hidden bitterness. Chu Xiaoyang was also puzzled, but he had to comfort Chen Baiyun. Chapter 180. Chen Baiyun's heart instantly felt better. Her face revealed a faint smile. Your highness, Yun understands, but Yun is still afraid. Afraid? You're afraid that this king will like that cheap woman Qin Ning. You can be assured, this king is just dealing with her. I definitely won't have any feelings for that cheap woman. This king won't even look at her once. Chu Xiaoyang stroked Chen Baiyun's hair, feeling a trace of satisfaction in his heart. The woman he loved was willing to be jealous for him, that was enough to show his position in her heart. Not like that cheap woman Chen Ning. From start to finish, he had a condescending look on his face. Asterisk if you didn't mention Chu Xiaoyang, Chen Ning was still very interested in horse riding. Before it was even 3 in the afternoon, she had already brought Xiao Ru to the eastern suburbs horse track. The so-called eastern suburbs horse track was actually on the east side of the King Ding Yuan Palace, occupying a very large area. In the stable, fine horses neighed with their heads held high. Each of them looked extraordinary. Chen Ning was wearing a sky blue hunting outfit today. This was specially given to her by the eldest princess. The sky blue color made her look very fresh and valiant. Her face was covered with a veil, and the veil was covered with red spots, revealing only a pair of clear, black eyes. Chu Xiaoyang did not appear. Chen Ning was very happy that she could not see him. It would be best if he never came. She leisurely followed the horse groom as she looked at the horses in the stable. She did not know how to judge horses, but the memory palace in her mind had records on how to judge horses. This blue and white horse has a straight back and strong limbs, running like the wind. What does the princess consort think? The horse groom had a proud look on his face as he introduced the horses in the stable to Chen Ning. Chen Ning shook her head. She did not say anything and continued to walk forward. This jade flower is very handsome, gentle, and good at jumping. How about the princess consort chooses this one? The horse groom said. Chen Ning looked at it and shook her head again. Then what about this mountain pill horse? It has strong muscles, strong hooves, and is good at climbing mountains. The horse groom did not give up and pulled out another good horse. Chen Ning still shook her head, no, no. The horse groom was dumbfounded. The 3 horses he picked out could be said to be the best horses in the King Ding Yuan Palace, but he never thought that Chen Ning would not like any of them. Of course, he did not have any good intentions in recommending these 3 horses to Chen Ning. Everyone in the king's palace knew that His Highness loved horses as much as his life. Almost every day, he would come to the horse farm to gallop around. These 3 horses were his most beloved horses. Each one of them had been bought by him after spending a lot of effort and money. These 3 horses, other than His Highness, no one else was allowed to ride them. There was once a new groom who secretly rode the jade flower horse for a spin in the middle of the night. He didn't think that he would be discovered by His Highness the next day. To this day, he still remembered the fate of that young driver. Whenever he thought about it, he would have nightmares. Early this morning, he had received 100 silver coins from the concubine. She only gave him a few words, do as you see fit. He held this piece of silver for a while and finally understood the concubine consort's meaning. His Highness had already sent the princess consort Chen to the wooden hut, but the princess had unexpectedly obtained the favor of the eldest princess. Her position in the king's palace had skyrocketed and now there was no one in the palace that dared to offend the princess. Originally, His Highness had already sent his princess, Chen Shi, into the wooden hut, but the princess had unexpectedly received the eldest princess' favor. Her position in the palace had skyrocketed and there was no one in the palace that dared to offend the princess. Offending the princess was the same as offending the eldest princess. How could they have the courage? Chapter 181. If he wanted to do it, he had to do it without leaving a trace and without leaving a single flaw. He first introduced the advantages of these 3 horses to the princess. If the princess really liked one of the 3 horses and rode it, angering His Highness, then the consequences would have nothing to do with him. If His Highness blamed him, he could say that the legs belonged to the princess and the horse was the one that the princess wanted to ride. Like this, he would be able to complete the concubine consort's task and he would be able to protect himself. It was a pity that his plans were all for naught. Of the 3 horses he recommended, Chen Ning did not like any of them. The horse groom closed his mouth. He obediently followed behind Qin Ning and then saw Qin Ning stop in front of a small date red horse. "I want this one." Qin Ning smiled as she nodded at the date red horse. The horse groom bowed in agreement, but his heart was filled with disdain. There were so many large horses that she didn't choose, and she actually chose this short, ugly, and weak horse. He remembered that this date red horse was the one that His Highness had brought with him when he bought the jade flower horse from Dewan 3 years ago. Just looking at it, he could tell that it was not a good horse, and the horse groom did not care about it. If it wasn't for His Highness' love for horses, this small and thin date red horse would have already been slaughtered and eaten by them. In these 3 years, Chu Xiaoyang had never looked at this date red horse, so it did not even have a saddle on it. It just stood alone in the shed, listlessly eating grass and swinging its tail from time to time. Its fur was sparse and did not have any luster. Compared to the shining horses that Qin Ning had seen before, it was like heaven and earth. It could be seen that it had not entered Chu Xiaoyang's eyes. Even the horse groom had neglected it and did not care about it at all. Qin Ning stood in front of it and carefully looked at it. The more she looked, the more she liked it. The horse groom brought over a saddle and walked into the shed to put it on the date red horse. Who would have thought that the date red horse would suddenly raise its hoof and heavily kick him? "Beast, damn beast." The horse groom fell to the ground and loudly cursed. He quickly got up and pulled out a whip to swing at the date red horse. With a shwa sound, the whip he lashed out did not hit the date red horse, but instead hit his own face. He was stunned. When he looked over, he found that his hand holding the whip was being held by Qin Ning. "This is a horse that I like, so how can you hit it and scold it?" Qin Ning grabbed the whip and threw it on the ground. She coldly stared at the horse groom. She bent down to pick up the saddle that had fallen to the ground and prepared to personally put it on the date red horse. The horse groom had been hit by the whip and his face was burning with pain. He did not stop this and secretly hoped that Qin Ning would also be hit by the horse's hooves. When the date red horse saw Qin Ning approach, it began to become anxious. Its hind hooves kept flying and it had a very unfriendly expression. "Zay, Chen is to the horse," it said. Qin Ning smiled as she praised it. She was not in a rush to put the reins on it, but she took out a dumpling candy from her pocket. Holding it in her palm, she sent it forward. The date red horse snorted and came forward to sniff it. It first licked it in confusion before happily eating it. Soon the candy disappeared, but the date red horse did not have enough. It continued to lick her palm, feeling itchy. Qin Ning smiled and took out another 2 dumplings to feed to the horse. Then she reached out to stroke the horse's mane. Chapter 182. Qin Ning giggled and dodged. She did not want the horse's tongue to lick off the makeup she worked so hard to put on. The horse groom was dumbfounded seeing this. This bad-tempered horse was actually subdued by Qin Ning with just 2 pieces of candy. This was simply too incredible. Qin Ning had come prepared. Although she had never ridden a horse before, she knew from the books that the best way to gain a horse's liking was to give it what it liked. A horse's sense of smell was very sensitive to sweet and salty tastes, so she had prepared a bag of dumplings and the date red horse immediately accepted her. Like the legendary 1,000-mile horse, it was the most loyal to its first master. Since the date red horse had licked her face, it had recognized her as its master. If other people wanted to use the method of feeding a candy to please the horse, it would not work. Qin Ning put the saddle on the horse and then tightened the horse's belt. The date red horse was very docile and was very affectionate as it rubbed against her. The horse groom's jaw almost dropped when he saw this. What Qin Ning did not know was that this date red horse was the smallest and most common horse in the horse farm, but it also had the worst temper out of all the horses. It never let anyone get close and it did not like living in the same shed as other horses. The horse groom was too lazy to care about it, so they just locked it in a shed by itself. They would feed it grass and water whenever they wanted, and when it was dirty, they would pour buckets of water on it, leaving it to fend for itself. No one would have thought that this kind of bad horse would enter the princess' eyes. It really was the kind of person riding a horse. The princess consort was ugly and the horse she chose was also ugly. They had all heard that the princess consort was ugly. When His Highness was marrying a concubine, the princess had appeared, scaring all the guests that came to congratulate them. Even now, this matter was still a joke among them. Chen Ning hugged the date red horse affectionately for a while and Xiao Ru curiously came over. She had never ridden a horse before and seeing that the horse was very docile towards Chen Ning, she wanted to reach out and touch the horse's back. Be careful. Before Xiao Ru's hand could touch the horse's back, the date red horse suddenly raised its head and neighed. Xiao Ru was so scared that she quickly pulled back her hand. Don't touch it yet, it's still unfamiliar with you. Wait for me to get familiar with it for a few days and then you can get closer to it. Chen Ning smiled as she pulled Xiao Ru behind her. Xiao Ru stuck out her tongue at the date red horse and made a face. What are you acting so proud for? It's so ugly and it's so fierce. Young miss, this servant thinks that all the other horses are better looking than this one, so why did you choose it? Xiao Ru had a puzzled look on her face. When judging a horse, it doesn't matter if it's beautiful or ugly. When it comes to heroes, it doesn't matter where they come from. You think this horse is ugly, but in my opinion, it's a rare precious horse. Chen Ning lovingly stroked the horse's mane. Gee, this can also be considered as a good horse. You are indeed a shallow person who has never seen the world. Suddenly, a cold laugh filled with disdain came from behind Chen Ning. She turned around and saw that Chu Xiaoyang had unknowingly appeared 3 meters behind her. He was wearing a black robe that made him look even more handsome. The bruises on his face had mostly disappeared and he had returned to his jade-like handsome appearance. He had a face of ridicule as he looked over the date red horse. Then he coldly looked at Chen Ning and spat out 2 words. Chapter 183. Chen Ning had to say that Chu Xiaoyang's face really deserved a slap. But she was not angry. Rather she smiled and said, "This horse is very good, how about you give it to me?" "Give it to you? For what reason?" Chu Xiaoyang countered with a question. This bad horse was like a mouse that had fallen into a pot of soup. He did not care about it at all, but since Chen Ning wanted it, he would not give it to her. "If you don't want to give it to me, then I won't give it to you. You're so stingy. Then can this princess ride it?" Chen Ning gave an uncaring shrug. "You know how to ride a horse?" Chu Xiaoyang looked at her. "I don't, but can't I learn if I don't know?" Chen Ning revealed a bright smile. In this horse field with the blue sky and white clouds, she felt that everything was very beautiful. Of course, other than the man in front of her. Very good. Horse groom, teach her how to mount the horse. Chu Xiaoyang gave a cold smile. He crossed his arms and stood in place, looking like he was watching a joke. Chen Ning did not want him to teach her, so she didn't even need a horse groom. She closed her eyes and silently went through the basics of horse riding in her mind. Then she opened her eyes and revealed a sweet smile to the date red horse. "Horse, horse, you have to be obedient. If you throw me off, I won't give you any candy." She patted the horse's head. It was unknown if the horse understood her, but it gave a loud snort. "Chee!" Chu Xiaoyang gave a cold laugh. "Do you think it's a human that can understand your words?" Chen Ning was too lazy to care about him. She grabbed the saddle and her left foot stepped into the stirrup. She flew over and gracefully climbed onto the horse's back. Her movements were light and fast. Although the way she mounted the horse looked very beautiful, Chu Xiaoyang could tell with a single glance that she really did not know how to ride a horse. Humph, let's see if she doesn't fall on her butt. Who would have thought that he would be disappointed? Chen Ning's hands grabbed the horse reins and then she let go. With a gentle shake, the date red horse began to slowly move forward. 1 lap, 2 laps. The date red horse gradually sped up. It went from a slow walk to a canter and from a canter to a fast run. The sound of the horse's hooves rang through the green grass. Her sky blue hunting clothes fluttered in the wind, looking very heroic as she rode the horse. Xiao Ru was stunned. She kept clapping her hands and cheering for Chen Ning. "Young miss, you're really beautiful," she sincerely praised. "Beautiful my ass." Chu Xiaoyang fiercely cursed in his heart. Even though he was shocked by Chen Ning's figure on the horse, just looking at her back was enough to make people's eyes light up, but when she rode the horse over, the wind lifted her veil, revealing her face that was covered in red spots. He felt his eyes hurt and quickly turned his head, not looking at her again. Chen Ning's eyes were filled with tears, but she was not willing to give him a single glance. This ugly woman really had dog shit luck, she was actually not to look. Xiao Chen. He did not say a word as he walked to the jade flower horse's shed and jumped onto its back. The way he mounted the horse was much more graceful than Chen Ning's. The jade flower horse was truly worthy of being the best horse he had picked out. It ran as fast as lightning and in just a short amount of time, it had already caught up to Chen Ning. Chen Ning heard the horse's hooves behind her and turned around. She saw Chu Xiaoyang's cold face as he charged at her with an expressionless face. This cheap man wouldn't be thinking of a way to harm her, right? A trace of vigilance flashed in her heart. She wanted to pull the reins and stop the date red horse. Chapter 184. Chu Xiaoyang, you bastard. Chen Ning only had time to curse out when she heard the date red horse let out a neigh. Its 4 hooves began to fly and in the blink of an eye, it had left Chu Xiaoyang behind. The wind whistled in her ears and she almost fell off the horse several times. It was a good thing that she held on to the saddle and lowered her body, avoiding this misfortune. If she fell off the back of a horse like this, even if she didn't die, she would be seriously injured. Chen Ning did not care about scolding Chu Xiaoyang anymore. She was only thinking about how to maintain her balance and not fall off the horse. The date red horse seemed to be in a frenzy as its 4 hooves flew into the air. Chen Ning did not know whether to laugh or cry on the horse's back. This feeling was just too exciting. She did not know if she should be happy that she had chosen a good horse or complain about how this horse was running so fast. Chu Xiaoyang reined in the jade flower horse and narrowed his eyes as he looked at the date red horse running across the field. He also looked at the light blue figure that seemed like it would fall off at any moment. Who would have thought that this ugly woman would be so lucky to have found such a rare divine chariot? This date red horse that had short legs and a thin body was actually faster than his jade flower horse by a bit. Your Highness, I beg you to save my family's young miss and the princess consort. She is about to fall off the horse. Your Highness, I beg you. I beg you to save her. Xiao Ru ran over and kneeled in front of his horse, crying and begging. Her face was covered in tears and she was gasping for breath from crying. Chu Xiaoyang sat high up on the horse's back and did not even look at Xiao Ru. His lips curled and he casually said, "What are you afraid of? She won't die." The eldest princess asked this king to teach her how to ride a horse. Which one of the people that learn how to ride a horse have not fallen off the back of a horse before? She will naturally learn after falling a few times. Your Highness, the young miss is your princess consort. Do you really have the heart to see her die in front of you? Xiao Ru's throat choked up as she stared at Chu Xiaoyang with teary eyes. If she really falls to her death, this king will give her a grand funeral. Chu Xiaoyang gave a cold laugh and turned the horse around. He did not look at Chen Ning again and rode the horse back to the stable. He jumped off the horse and moved quickly. He brushed the dust off the corner of his robe and with his hands behind his back, he leisurely left the horse field. His cold and emotionless words floated into Chen Ning's ears one word at a time. You want me to die? In your dreams. Chen Ning gritted her teeth and said, Xiao Ru. She lowered her body and tightly clung to the horse's back. She tightly hugged the horse's neck with both hands and refused to fall off the horse. The date red horse ran faster and faster as it charged into the fence surrounding the horse field. In that instant, Xiao Ru's heart jumped up. Then she closed her eyes and shouted, It's over. The young miss must have fallen to her. Xiao 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 of Fertian. She only heard the groom beside her suck in a breath of cold air. When she opened her eyes again, she found that the date red horse and the young miss on its back had disappeared. Young miss. Xiao Ning to out. Xiao Ru grabbed the horse groom's collar. She screamed out as her eyes turned red. The horse groom looked in the direction of the fence with a look of amazement. He raised his right hand in a daze and swallowed a mouthful of saliva before saying, The princess consort's horse has jumped over the fence and charged outside. Outside. Chapter 185. The fence around the horse track was as tall as a person and normal horses would not be able to jump over it. Even the jade flower horse that was well trained and good at jumping would not dare jump over such a high fence. But that date red horse had actually jumped over it. The horse groom stood there rubbing his eyes, not daring to believe what he was seeing. Xiao Ru let go of him and chased after Chen Ning. She was crying as she ran, Young miss. Young miss, you have to be all right. Young miss. Chen Ning naturally did not hear her cries. She had already been brought several hundred meters away by the date red horse. When the date red horse charged at the fence, her heart almost jumped out of her chest. She thought that she would not be able to escape this disaster, but at this moment of life and death, the date red horse suddenly jumped over the fence and landed on the ground. Then the horse did not stop and charged into the street outside the fence. Horse, horse, you almost scared me half to death. Can you obediently stop? Chen Ning had just calmed down from her shock. She patted the horse's ears and said this, wanting to appease this crazy horse. She guessed that ever since this date red horse came to the horse track, it had been looked down upon. It had never let loose like this before, so once it ran, it would naturally be in high spirits. But now, the place it was running to was not the spacious and empty stud field, but the crowded street. She desperately pulled on the reins to slow the horse down, but at this moment, a little boy was setting off firecrackers, which coincidentally landed under the date red horse's hooves. With a bang sound, the date red horse was frightened. Not only did it not slow down, it ran even faster. This is bad, the horse was frightened. Chen Ning knew that horses were most afraid of being frightened. It would not care about where it was going or where it was going. It did not care if there were people or cliffs in front of it, it would just charge straight ahead. Get out of the way. Everyone get out of the way. This horse is frightened. She used all her strength to shout from the back of the horse. The horse's speed became faster and faster. The people on the street began to flee in panic as they cried out in fear. Chen Ning forcefully gritted her teeth and desperately pulled on the reins. The date red horse's speed did not decrease at all as it charged into the crowd in front of her. It's over. Chen Ning knew that once she charged into the crowd, she did not know how many innocent people would suffer, but she could not help herself. The date red horse was no longer under her control. At this critical moment, a black figure suddenly charged out from the side and landed right in front of the date red horse. Seeing that he was about to be sent flying by the wind like horse, the people on the side all let out shocked cries and covered their faces, not daring to look. Chen Ning also sucked in a cold breath. She saw that the man was not in a hurry as he reached out to grab the horse's reins. His right hand slapped the horse's head. The date red horse's front legs buckled and it fell to the ground. Chen Ning was thrown off the back of the horse by the inertia. The black-clothed man flew up and grabbed her. He spun a few times in the air, dispersing the force of the impact. His movements were graceful and beautiful as he brought her to the ground. The person stopped the horse and saved someone. This series of dangerous actions had happened in a short time. In the blink of an eye, everyone saw that the black-clothed man had successfully stopped the horse. They instantly erupted into thunderous applause. The black-clothed man acted like he did not hear anything. His deep eyes stared at Chen Ning in his arms and his face was still expressionless. Chapter 186. Chen Ning had escaped from death. She came back to her senses and looked at the man that had saved her. She just happened to meet the black-clothed man's eyes. "It's you," she softly cried out. The black-clothed man that had stopped the horse at this critical moment was actually the person she had met several times, Qian Duo. "You recognize me?" The black-clothed man's eyes sparkled. His eyes revealed a trace of surprise and then an indescribable killing intent flashed through them. Chen Ning felt his arms around her tighten and she did not miss the killing intent that flashed in his eyes. She immediately understood what was going on. "I don't recognize you." She turned her head and did not look at him. The veil on her face had disappeared in the mad gallop of the horse, revealing her face, which was covered in rouge and blotches. She believed that the black-clothed man would not recognize her. It just so happened that she did not want to have anything to do with him. "So it's you. Miss, we meet again," the black-clothed man suddenly said. His eyes sparkled as he recognized who she was. He could not remember what she looked like, but he firmly remembered her clear and bright eyes. It was this pair of eyes of hers that had been deeply imprinted in his mind ever since he had seen them once. He had never forgotten them ever since. But after saying goodbye in the restaurant, he had never seen her again. Only the heavens knew that in order to find her, he had turned the entire capital city upside down. That pitiful Shaoxi, he was still guarding the street where they had their fortune-telling stall. He had probably turned into stone by now. However, he had never imagined that he would be able to save her today by chance. Wasn't this fate given to them by the heavens? That's right, we meet again. It seems like we are fated. Chen Ning giggled as she turned around. Since he had recognized her, she could not pretend that she did not know him. After all, he had given her a bag of gold ingots. If she pretended not to know him, wouldn't he think that she was trying to steal his gold? The black-clothed man did not seem to like talking too much. He just nodded and put her down. His eyes fell onto the date red horse and he praised, "Good horse." The date red horse had been slapped to the ground by him, but it was not injured at all. It came to Chen Ning's side and rubbed against her. It kept sticking out its tongue to lick her face, as if it was apologizing. Although Chen Ning had almost lost her life because of this horse, she knew that it had nothing to do with the horse. It was all because of Chu Xiaoyang's whip. Chu Xiaoyang. Bastard! She angrily cursed in her heart. His whip had not only taken her life, it had also taken the lives of many innocent people. If it weren't for the black-clothed man stopping the horse, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Thinking about it now, Chen Ning broke out in a cold sweat. "Thank you. Not only did you save me, you also saved all these citizens." Chen Ning looked up and sincerely thanked the black-clothed man. The black-clothed man was stunned as he stared straight at her face. His eyes couldn't hide the astonishment in his eyes. You. He exhaled and frowned slightly. "Why did you paint your face in such a weird way? What happened to my face?" Chen Ning reached out to touch it and felt her hand become wet. She finally realized that the rouge on her face had been licked clean by the date red horse. This rouge had a sweet smell to it, no wonder the horse liked to lick her face. Chapter 187. Although she had revealed her true appearance in front of the black-clothed man, Chen Ning did not care. As long as Chu Xiaoyang did not see her face, it was fine. This is already the second time you've saved me, so I owe you 2 favors. I'll pay you back in the future. I still have things to do, so I'll be leaving first. Chen Ning felt that her face was wet and uncomfortable. She did not want to stay outside any longer, so she pulled the date red horse and left. The black-clothed man had no expression on his face, but he looked at her back with a thoughtful expression. He couldn't help rubbing his chin. Every time she saw him, she would avoid him, not even willing to say a single word to him. Could it be that she didn't like him that much? Although he did not know that the person he saved was her and he did not want her to repay him, but for her to just leave like this, wasn't she looking down on him too much? The black-clothed man had never been looked down on like this before. His heart filled with dissatisfaction, and with a flash of his body, he appeared in front of Chen Ning. "Miss, wait a minute. Chen Ning did not think that he would suddenly appear, so she bumped into his chest. His chest was firm and full of elasticity, giving off a unique man's aura that entered her nose. "Do you have something else?" She looked up and met the black-clothed man's deep abyss eyes. Her heart skipped a beat. He wouldn't be pestering her again, would he? "Miss, are you planning on leaving like this?" The black-clothed man cleared his throat and asked in a questioning voice. "Then what does the young master want?" Chen Ning raised her brows and revealed a faint smile. "Could it be that the young master wants me to repay you with my body and repay you for saving my life?" She remembered the last time she mentioned the words, "repay with my body." The man looked like he had been bitten by a snake. Who would have thought that after hearing this, the black-clothed man would remain silent? His deep eyes stared right at her like he was trying to see through her. I was just joking. Young master, please don't mind. How about I invite the young master to a meal? I wonder if the young master is willing to give me face." She quickly changed the topic. If this man just nodded his head and agreed, she would really be shooting herself in the foot. "All right." The black-clothed man seemed to be satisfied. He moved to the side and moved out of the way. Chen Ning let out a sigh of relief. This black-clothed man's heart was like a needle at the bottom of the sea, she could not see through him. Although she could see through other people's hearts through their expressions, she could not see through this black-clothed man at all. There was no expression on his face. Other than his eyes that could move, his face was completely stiff. Last time young master left in a hurry and didn't have time to taste the 4 dishes. How about we go to Tai He floor again? Chen Ning suggested. All right. The black-clothed man nodded his head and walked in the direction of the Tai He floor. Chen Ning bit her lips and looked at the man's tall and straight back. She knew that she couldn't escape this, so she could only sigh and follow behind the black-clothed man. A breeze came and Ning and felt. She was feel a chin. She Ning as she could. As possible. She still had a lingering fear when she thought of the dangerous situation just now. She stared at the black-clothed man's back. This Qian Duoduo's skills were really amazing. Not only was his qigong good, his internal energy was also unfathomable. Chapter 188. The legendary top experts, were they referring to people like this black-clothed man? There really was always someone better. This black-clothed man's martial arts were 10 times stronger than that bastard Chu Xiaoyang, no, 100 times stronger. If he was willing to work for her, she would not have to worry about Chu Xiaoyang causing trouble for her in the future. Once this thought entered Chen Ning's mind, it could not be erased. Unknowingly, an evil smile appeared on her lips. The black-clothed man walked in front, but he suddenly felt a prick on his back. He suddenly turned around and saw the smile on Chen Ning's face. His heart turned cold, like he had seen a weasel greeting a chicken. Why was this girl's smile so strange? "I'm funny." He knit his brows and said in a low voice. "Of course not funny at all." Chen Ning quickly put away the smile on her face and said with a serious expression. She couldn't let the black-clothed man notice her careful thoughts and become vigilant. "Humph." The black-clothed man gave a cold snort and turned to walk forward, but all he could see was the evil smile on Chen Ning's face. This girl wouldn't be thinking of some kind of scheme against him, right? He secretly became alert in his heart. The two of them arrived in front of the Tai floor. Seeing the long line of people in front of the door, Chen Ning regretted her previous suggestion. Why did she choose Tai floor out of all the other restaurants? Now that her makeup had been licked by the date red horse, the shopkeeper who judged people by their appearance did not recognize her. Naturally, she would not enjoy the same preferential treatment as last time. But if they continued to line up like this, perhaps they wouldn't be able to eat even if they waited until tomorrow morning. "How about, we go to another place to eat?" she suggested in a slightly embarrassed manner. The black-clothed man softly looked at her and walked into the Tai floor. Third floor, private room. As soon as he entered, he threw a silver bill to the shopkeeper. Chen Ning did not even see the amount on it, but she saw the shopkeeper's face turn into a flower. Yes. Esteemed guest, please come in. This Richie rich, he really was rich. Taking out silver bills was as natural as a normal person taking out paper. Chen Ning let out a sigh. The so-called money could make the devil push the millstone. She had actually forgotten this unbreakable truth from ancient times. The waiter attentively came up to take the horse in her hands. "This horse has a bad temper, tie it up for me. Don't let other horses bully it," Chen Ning said in a worried voice. Yes. Esteemed guest, please be assured." The waiter glanced at the date red horse. He thought to himself that such an ugly horse, if it was tied up with the other guests' horses, the other guests would probably not be happy. This time the shopkeeper did not waste any time and personally brought the black-clothed man and Chen Ning to the private room on the third floor. After the two of them had ordered, he left. There was only Chen Ning and the black-clothed man left in the room. Chen Ning found that the black-clothed man did not like to talk and that clever Xiao Si was not here. In an instant, a silent atmosphere filled the air between the two of them. Young master, please wait here. I want to wash my face and I'll be right back." Chen Ning was too bored. After a while, she finally opened her mouth. Chen Ning, who came from the modern era, was used to washing her hands before eating. Especially when she thought about how her face was covered in the horse's saliva, she did not have any appetite to eat. Of course, she wanted to find a reason to leave so she wouldn't have to sit here and stare at the black-clothed man. The black-clothed man gave her a non-committal look. Chapter 189. What a joke. Who says this girl doesn't have money? Even if I don't have as much money as you, I still have enough money to treat you to a meal. Chen Ning took out an embroidered purse from her chest and threw it onto the table in a very extravagant manner. This purse contained all of her wealth. She could be considered a master with 4,000 silvers, so she could not let the black-clothed man look down on her. The black-clothed man seriously picked up the purse and looked at the money inside. Then he looked up and softly said, "It's not enough." How could it not be enough? Didn't you just order 4 dishes? Even if it was 1,000 silvers per dish, it would still be enough. Chen Ning looked at him with a suspicious gaze. Naturally, the money for the dishes is enough, but this miss might not know this. Entering this room requires 5,000 silvers, so I say that this miss doesn't have enough money. The black-clothed man calmly said. 5,000 silvers. Isn't this room fee too expensive? This is simply ripping people off. Chen Ning was filled with indignation. But I believe in the miss' sincerity. Miss, go wash your face. I'll wait for the miss here. The black-clothed man had a calm expression as he spoke in a polite manner. He picked up the teapot on the table and poured some water. After making tea, he brought it to his lips and sniffed it before gently sipping it. His posture was very elegant and noble. If it wasn't for the cold aura that was constantly being released from his body, Chen Ning would have suspected that he was a young master from a rich family. Only a person who had received a good upbringing from a young age could be this calm, gentle, and calm. Every move he made was pleasing to the eye. If Miss doesn't want to wash your face, how about you sit down and have some tea? This one believes that my face is not as good looking as Miss. If Miss keeps staring at me like this, I'm afraid that my face will be melted by Miss. The black-clothed man drank the rest of the tea in one gulp. He looked at her from the corner of his eyes and teased her with this sentence. Chen Ning found that she had unknowingly fallen into a daze. Her face turned slightly hot as she pushed open the door. She found a waiter and brought a basin of water. She walked over to the patio to wash her face, but when she looked down, she was instantly shocked. The clear water reflected her face. After the date-red horse had licked her face a few times, it had become strange. Even she almost spat out when she saw this kind of face. She thought of the black-clothed man's calm expression when he looked at her and she was filled with admiration. It was really hard for him to remain unmoved in the face of such an ugly face. She quickly washed her face and returned to the private room feeling refreshed. Hearing the sound of her entering the door, the man in black did not look up. He poured a cup of fragrant tea and said, "Try this tea, it's just right." A fragrant tea smell filled her nose. Chen Ning never knew how to taste tea, but she couldn't help praising it, such fragrant tea. She picked up the cup and drained it in one gulp, as if she was drinking wine. A smile flashed in the black-clothed man's eyes. He looked at Chen Ning's drinking posture and knew that she didn't know how to taste tea at all. In this era, scholars and refined guests all regarded tea as a kind of elegant behavior. Making tea was particular about heat control and hand gestures. When drinking tea, one should also savor it slowly. Holding the cup, one would first observe the color of the tea, then smell the fragrance of the tea, and then drink it slowly, just like drinking fine wine, until one was slightly drunk. Only the common people would be like Chen Ning, drinking it all in one gulp without even looking at it. Chapter 190. This was the fourth time he had seen her. The first time was on a noisy street. She had mocked him and he had turned around to look at her, but he did not have a special impression of her. The second time he saw her, she was divining words for someone. Her confident manner had attracted his attention. He found that her face was very normal and her skin was yellow. Only that pair of limpid eyes were deeply imprinted in his mind. The third time he saved her from the back of the horse, her face full of red spots gave him a fright. Fortunately, he had excellent control, so he didn't reveal anything strange. But the person in front of him was like a completely different person. He almost did not recognize her. Her face was clean without a single trace of makeup on it, but it was like a warm spring breeze blowing into the room. That soft skin was as clear as jade and there were still droplets of water on her face. Her eyebrows were like crescent moons and her eyes were like paint. There was a faint blush on her cheeks that was as delicate as a hibiscus that had just come out of the water. The petals still had drops of dew on them. This made his eyes, who had seen a lot of makeup and women, light up. He never thought that there would be this kind of natural beauty in this world. Young master, if you keep staring at me like this, I'm afraid my face will be melted by the young master. Chen Ning saw him staring at her and revealed a faint smile. Then she used the words he had just said to tease her. Cool. The black-clothed man had a sip of tea in his mouth, and when he heard this, he choked on it and couldn't help coughing. He lowered his head and felt his face heat up. He never thought that there would be a day when he would be teased by someone. This girl really was bold. But he could not be angry. His slender fingers gently stroked the smooth teacup as he pondered how to tell her the reason for his visit without being rejected by her. Chen Ning was also curiously looking at him. She found that his eyebrows were very thick and his eyelashes were very long. When he looked down and no longer looked at her with an aggressive gaze, the pressure on her instantly decreased by quite a bit. She noticed that his fingers were touching the teacup. The cup was already empty, but he did not notice it. This meant that he was thinking about a problem, and this problem had to be related to her. He did not look up at her, meaning that he had not thought of how to ask her. Chen Ning revealed a faint smile. She knew that her judgment was not wrong. She leaned back in her chair and poured herself a cup of tea. Her expression was relaxed as she quietly waited for him to speak. "Two esteemed guests, the dishes are here." Before the man in black could say anything, the waiter opened the door and served the dishes they had ordered. When the first dish was brought over, it immediately attracted the black-clothed man's attention. Before the dishes even entered the door, a special aroma wafted into his nostrils. The snow-white porcelain plate was covered with emerald green branches that overlapped and formed what looked like a bird's nest. A young pigeon that was roasted to a brilliant golden yellow lay cross-legged in its nest with its neck stretched towards the sky. Its appearance was unique, and at first glance, it really did look like a phoenix. The man in black laughed involuntarily. "Is this the phoenix's return to the nest?" The waiter smiled as he nodded. His face was filled with pride. As long as this dish was placed in front of the guests, there was no one who wouldn't praise it. In this period of time, the praises he had heard almost filled his ears. Chapter 191. The waiter was very unconvinced and couldn't help but say, "Esteemed guest, you may not know this, but this dish is the treasure of our restaurant. No one in the entire capital can eat it. Esteemed guest, as long as you try it, you will never forget its wonderful taste. It only has the shape but not the spirit, so it can't be considered number one in the world. You can leave." The black-clothed man did not even look at the waiter. The waiter couldn't help secretly clicking his tongue. He thought that this guest really had a big tone. He did not dare to argue back and offend the esteemed guest, so he left with a stomach full of disapproval. Chen Ning's eyes looked over the black-clothed man's face. From this man's reaction, he really did not put this dish that everyone praised in his eyes. However, if it was a recipe that she had written, how could it be a normal dish? She did not say a word and picked up the small silver knife on the side of the plate. She gently cut off a small piece of golden pigeon skin and covered it with a layer of fruit jam. Then she picked up a thin piece of cake and rolled it into a small spring roll. She placed it on the plate in front of the black-clothed man. Her fingers were nimble and graceful, just like a beautiful orchid blooming in her palm. The black-clothed man couldn't help being entranced and only reacted when she placed the rolled-up piece of cake in front of him. He stared at the small cake in the plate for a long time. It was like it was not food, but rather a caterpillar. "If you don't like it, I'll eat it myself." Chen Ning was a little annoyed. This black-clothed man did not seem like the type of person that would waste time, so why did it take so much effort to eat? She reached out her hand to take it. "I'll eat it." The black-clothed man elegantly picked up the roll and placed it in his mouth without any hesitation. He didn't have much interest in the plain-looking burrito, but because she was the one who made it, he didn't want to reject her good intentions. However, after chewing a few times, a strange look appeared in his eyes. There was no need to say the word crispy, but the strange thing was that every time he bit, there would be a different taste. There was crispness in the crispness, sweetness in the crispness, and sweetness in the sweetness. It was clear but not greasy. This was a taste that he had never tasted before. After tasting it once, he could not forget it. For a moment, he was a little reluctant to swallow the delicious food in his mouth. His tongue could be said to have tasted all the delicacies in the world. There was almost nothing that he could eat a second time. But after he finished eating the small cake, he felt like he was still not satisfied. His eyes swept over Chen Ning. Chen Ning naturally understood the meaning behind his gaze. It meant, he still wanted more. He wanted it. But she was not willing to serve him. This man was really arrogant. He even wanted someone to bring food to him. She wasn't even his servant. If you want to eat, then do it yourself. Chen Ning skillfully rolled up a crispy pancake for herself. Then she pushed the small silver knife in front of him and ate it with relish. The black-clothed man's lips twitched as he stared right at Chen Ning. Very good, this girl was really bold, she even dared to refuse his request. Chen Ning did not even look at him as she finished eating the biscuit. Seeing that he was not moving, she took the silver knife and rolled up another piece. She completely ignored the black-clothed man's eyes that were filled with anticipation as she directly placed it into her own mouth. The black-clothed man could not help but feel the veins on his forehead pop out. Delicious, this phoenix nest is really delicious. Why aren't you eating it? Do you not like it? Alright, then I'll have to eat it myself. Chapter 192. Gone. The black-clothed man stared at the bare pigeon and couldn't help secretly swallowing a mouthful of saliva. That phoenix's nest just now had completely aroused the hunger in his stomach and he actually began to feel hungry. Goo, loo, loo, a strange sound suddenly rang out. Chen Ning and the black-clothed man were both stunned. Following that, the black-clothed man quickly turned his head and his right hand that was hidden in his sleeve tightly clenched into a fist. Damn it, this disappointing stomach. His ears began to burn and this was the first time in his life that he had felt extremely embarrassed. His stomach growling wasn't anything, but it was growling in front of a young girl like Chen Ning. He couldn't help but feel his ears turn red from embarrassment. When Chen Ning saw this, she secretly found it funny. She never thought that this black-clothed man, who always had a cold expression on his face, would actually feel shy. What did a small thing like his stomach growling count for, but he was actually so embarrassed that his ears turned red. This was truly interesting, truly interesting. Although it was funny, Chen Ning did not dare laugh. Otherwise, this black-clothed man would become angry from embarrassment and pull out his blade. She was not his match at all. She could only look around and pretend not to hear anything. Why isn't the waiter here yet? My stomach is already growling from hunger. After Chen Ning said this, the black-clothed man suddenly felt less embarrassed. His red ears slowly returned to their normal color. Two esteemed guests, I've made you wait. The phoenix egg is here. A loud and clear voice rang out. The waiter walked in with a large plate in his hands, but it was covered with a cover. After tasting the phoenix's nest, the black-clothed man was filled with anticipation for this phoenix egg. But when the waiter opened the cover, the anticipation in his eyes instantly turned to disappointment. This was the phoenix egg. There was a peeled egg on the smooth white plate. Other than being a bit bigger, there was nothing special about it at all. The waiter had been humiliated by the black-clothed man last time. This time, after serving the dishes, he retreated without saying a word. Miss, is this the phoenix egg you made according to your recipe? The black-clothed man looked at the egg up and down, left and right, but he could not see anything special about it. It couldn't even compare to the phoenix's nest from before. He even suspected that the waiter had given them a fake egg. Woo, perhaps it's a fake phoenix egg. Won't we know once we cut it open? Chen Ning saw the doubt in his eyes. She raised the little silver knife with a smile and gently slashed at the egg, splitting it in half. A strange fragrance came out. The black-clothed man couldn't help taking a deep sniff. This fragrance was even more enticing than the phoenix's nest, making him drool. He looked at the plate again and saw that the two halves of the phoenix egg were brightly colored. There were orange-red, orange-yellow, and light yellow colors alternating. Sure enough, it looked like a young phoenix was curled up inside the egg. Exquisite, truly unique. The black-clothed man couldn't help praising it. Chen Ning just revealed a faint smile and did not say a word. She cut off a small piece of the phoenix egg and slowly tasted it in her mouth. She only remembered how to make this dish, but she had never tried it before. She didn't think that the chefs of the Tai He floor would be so good. The dish they made was exactly the same as the legendary phoenix egg. Woo! Chapter 193. The black-clothed man stared at her without blinking. The way she ate was not refined, but it was very natural. It couldn't help attracting his gaze. She had the innocence of a child, and when she ate, her eyes slightly narrowed. She had a look of enjoyment on her face, as if she was eating the most delicious food in the world. Seeing her eat, he suddenly felt hungry. He couldn't help secretly swallowing a mouthful of saliva. When he came back to his senses, he found that most of the phoenix egg on the plate had disappeared. He had never tasted such a delicious thing before. If he didn't make a move now, perhaps he wouldn't be able to eat a single bite. The black-clothed man stared at Chen Ning. Did this girl not understand the meaning of modesty? Chen Ning finally looked up at him and said in a strange voice, "Young master, is there something on my face? Why are you only looking at me and not eating?" "Humph. It's not that I'm not eating, it's that you're eating all the food." The man silently cursed as his eyes fell onto the small silver knife in Chen Ning's hand. Chen Ning suddenly realized and placed the small silver knife in front of him. She pursed her lips into a smile and said, "Sorry, sorry." The black-clothed man picked up the silver knife and elegantly cut off a small piece of the phoenix egg. He placed it in his mouth and slowly chewed it. His eating was much more refined than Chen Ning's. Each of his actions was filled with nobility and good upbringing. He sat very straight and carefully chewed each mouthful of food before swallowing it. He did not make a single sound when he chewed. Chen Ning held her chin and habitually observed his actions. Her intuition told her that this black-clothed man's background was definitely not normal. The two dishes that the waiter brought over were squirrel mandarin fish and a sweet soup. The squirrel mandarin fish was not a real squirrel, it was just a strange one. The fish meat was fragrant and tender, with a sweet and sour taste. But when it landed on the black-clothed man's tongue, he only received one word of evaluation: not bad. What truly stunned him was the sweet soup. The soup was sweet and there were snow-white osmanthus petals floating on top. There were several dozen red cherries floating in the soup. He scooped up a cherry and placed it in his mouth. He gently chewed it and it let out a crisp "gee" sound. The black-clothed man was stunned. He gently chewed it a few more times and the "gee" sound rang out again. His eyes filled with a smile as he looked at Chen Ning. "Are the cherries embedded with rock candy?" Chen Ning smiled and nodded. She threw the cherries into her mouth and chewed them like peanuts, letting out crisp sounds. These 4 recipes were something that she had obtained by chance from a book. She never thought that the Tai He floor's chef would be able to cook them and they would be this delicious. This was completely out of her expectations. It really is a nice-looking, tasty soup. Chen Ning's eyes were filled with admiration as she looked at Chen Ning's eyes. The man put down the soup and gave a gentle sigh. His eyes filled with praise as he looked at Chen Ning. These 4 dishes were not only a feast for his eyes, but also a feast for his mouth. After eating and drinking, what matter does young Master Money have with me? Can you just say it now? Chen Ning was too lazy to beat around the bush with the other side, so she directly asked this question. Young Master Money, I've already eaten and drunk my fill. My surname is not Chen. The corner of the man in black's mouth twitched. Did this girl really think she was a fool with a lot of money? Oh, then may I ask for young Master Money's name? Chen Ning did not mind it and casually asked. Chapter 194. After Chen Ning asked this, she realized that it didn't make sense. She couldn't help giving an apologetic smile to the black-clothed man. M.O., the black-clothed man treated his words like gold. So it's young Master M.O., Chen Ning looked at the man's black clothes and secretly thought that it was no wonder he liked wearing black. It was because his surname was M.O., the forest of ink, the source of ink. Young Master Mo's surname is very good and you are like your surname. With a single glance, you can tell that you have the aura of a scholar. Chen Ning habitually commented. She remembered that she still needed his help, so she gave him a few words of praise. The black-clothed man couldn't help laughing. My name is a single-character Chuan. He deliberately said. Woo, the surname is good and the name is even better. The river flows endlessly, rushing into the sea. This Chuan has the power to flow endlessly. Adding this young master's surname together, it means that you are as knowledgeable as the sea. Young Master M.O. must be a well-read scholar. Chen Ning spoke without any hesitation. M.O. Chuan almost spat out the mouthful of tea he had just drunk. This girl's mouth was truly powerful. When she spoke, she was like a porcupine covered in thorns, hurting wherever she stabbed. But when she praised someone, it really made people feel like they were sitting on a spring breeze. Although he knew that she was just spouting nonsense, it still made his mood very good. His eyes were filled with a smile as he asked, "May I ask for this girl's name?" As soon as he said this, he immediately felt regret. This girl's name, was it something he could casually ask for? As expected, Chen Ning shook her head and said, It's not convenient for me to tell you." Not only was Mo Chuan not angry, he let out a sigh of relief, secretly regretting his rudeness. "Young Master Mo, this is the 3rd time we've met today. You've saved me twice and we've even eaten together, so we can't be considered strangers anymore. If you have something to say, then you can honestly say it. You're looking for me because you need my help, right?" When Mo Chuan was thinking about what to say, Chen Ning suddenly looked right at him. Her eyes were so clear that he could see the bottom of it, sparkling like stars, as if she could see through his heart. He was stunned for a bit before slowly nodding. This girl really did have a pair of eyes that could see through a person's heart. It seems like he did not find the wrong person. There are no outsiders here, so can young Master Mo speak? Chen Ning looked away, no longer looking him in the eye. His eyes were bottomless, like the unfathomable deep sea. Just a moment ago, when they looked at each other, she felt a huge pressure. There are too many people here. Mo Chuan only said these words and didn't say anything else. His gaze swept across the surroundings indifferently, his meaning self-evident. Chen Ning was instantly enlightened. She had thought that there was no one here, but for an internal energy expert like Mo Chuan, his hearing must be better than a normal person's. If there was an internal energy expert nearby, then their conversation would be leaked. It could see that what Mo wanted to tell her about T-M-O-M-O-T was Chen. What? Chen T to him. T Ning Teet. T-M-O Chen T's words, T-test Chen's M-O-T Teet. You don't seem like the kind of person that would casually ask for help. Since you can find me, that means you believe that I have the ability to help you. The problem is whether or not I'm willing to agree. Now that I've agreed, but in return, I want young Master Mo to help me with something. It had to be said that Chen Ning's words were all on Mo Chuan's mind. Chapter 195. What do you want me to help you with? Mo Chuan asked. He was very smart, not mentioning whether he would agree or not. I've encountered a bit of trouble, so I want to ask young Master Mo to protect me for a while. Chen Ning looked into his eyes, not avoiding them at all. She knew that Mo Chuan would not easily trust people. The more direct and straightforward she was, the easier it would be for her to gain his trust. Trouble? What trouble? Mo Chuan thought of her suddenly appearing in the busy street and her startled horse. His brows slightly knit. Someone wants to harm you. Smart. Chen Ning slapped the table and praised with a smile. Tell me that person's name. No matter who he is, I will make him disappear. Mo Chuan softly said. An imperceptible coldness and murderous intent flashed through his eyes, and his slender fingers unconsciously tightened. Chen Ning's heart skipped a beat. His words were very domineering. Without a strong confidence, he could not say this kind of domineering words. But I don't want him to die yet. She shook her head with a faint smile. Why? He revealed a look of confusion. Someone wanted to kill her and she still had a smile on her face. Who was this person? This is a long story, I'll slowly tell you when I have time. This is my condition. I don't know if young Master Mo is willing to agree. You've saved me before, so I should help you unconditionally. But if I die, I'm afraid I won't be able to help young Master Mo, don't you think so? She looked at him with a smile, as if she was sure that he would agree. Mo Chuan was silent. He finally understood what she meant. She wanted him to stay by her side and protect her. This was simply laughable. He was prepared to reject her without even thinking. Did this girl know who he was? She actually dared to make this kind of bold request. His brows knit together and he was about to explode with anger. AI, young Master Mo, if you have something to say, then say it properly. Don't be angry. If you're not willing, of course I won't force you. Chen Ning said before he could become angry. His killing intent was very heavy. She felt a chill run down her spine and goosebumps appeared on her body. Mo Chuan took a deep breath and suppressed the anger in his heart. He slowly said, I only know how to kill people, I don't know how to protect people. Kill people. Chen Ning's pupils shrank and she blurted out, then you're an assassin. No wonder his body would unconsciously emit a murderous aura and chill. So that's why. The so-called assassin was one of the oldest professions in human history. Chen Ning's mind was filled with many famous poems describing assassins. For example, the wind is howling, the water is cold, the hero will never return. Also, kill a man in 10 steps, invincible for 1,000 miles. The corner of Mo Chuan's eyes twitched. Mo Chuan. He want to say he. He Chuan. The more ambiguous he was, the more she would think that her judgment was correct. Chen Ning suddenly felt a cold air float over her head. The temperature in the room instantly dropped by several degrees, making all the beautiful words about assassins disappear from her mind. Those were all descriptions in books, but in front of her was a living assassin. The legendary assassin that killed people without spilling blood, 1,000 miles without leaving a trace. She rubbed her arms, which were already covered in goosebumps. Chapter 196. Assassins were people who were quick to repay favors and were cold-blooded, drawing their blades without saying a single word. She really was brave, actually wanting an assassin to be her bodyguard. Her head must have been kicked by a donkey to think of this kind of stupid idea. That, young Master Mo, just pretend I didn't say anything. We'll meet again in the future. Chen Ning felt like she was sitting on pins and needles. She quickly stood up and turned to leave. After leaving the room, she secretly looked back and saw Mo Chuan sitting there with an expressionless face. His eyes were cold and dark. She shivered again and quickly walked away. Holding the date red horse, she walked a long distance in one breath before Chen Ning felt her body warm up a bit. So dangerous. She almost brought an assassin home. She stuck out her tongue and suddenly felt a chill run down her back, like a cold wind had just passed by. It wouldn't be that Mo Chuan following me again, right? She muttered in a small voice. Looking back, her face instantly turned dark. Mo Chuan's tall and elegant figure appeared in her line of sight, not even a meter away from her. What a coincidence. Young Master Mo, I never thought that we would meet again this soon. Are you going this way? I'm going that way and we're going in different directions, so we'll say our goodbyes here. Chen Ning smiled as she greeted him and then turned to leave. She entered another path and after walking several steps, she turned around to see that Mo Chuan was silently following behind her. Seeing her stop, Mo Chuan also stopped. A pair of deep eyes looked at her. Young Master Mo, could it be that you're also going home? Chen Ning decided not to walk. Mo Chuan slightly shook his head, but he did not say anything. Then what are you following me for? His eyes revealed a faint smile. Miss wants my help, so I agreed. What? You agreed to be my bodyguard. Chen Ning's eyes popped out, suspecting that she had heard wrong. For an assassin like him, he had the skills and money, and he also had a proud and noble temperament. How could he agree to be her bodyguard? Unless he needed her help, it would be very troublesome and difficult. It's over. She had really provoked a hot potato that she couldn't get rid of this time. That's right. Mo Chuan nodded. Chen Ning was speechless. She really wanted to say, could she regret it? She didn't want him to be a bodyguard at all. Keeping him by her side was like keeping a bomb that could explode at any moment. Who knew if he was unhappy, he would cut off Chu Xiaoyang's head with a single slash or cut off her head. No, this was too dangerous. Young Master Mo, how about you consider it again? Chen Ning said in a negotiating tone, I've thought about it before. My suggestion is too rash and disrespectful to you. For a person with such skills like you, how could I let you be my bodyguard? How about this, if you need my help, I'll definitely call for you. As for the favor I asked for, let's just forget about it and pretend I never mentioned it, okay? No. Mo Chuan shook his head. Why not? Chen Ning was confused. She had already agreed to help him for free, what else did he want? Mo Chuan took a step forward. His figure was tall and he slightly lowered his head to look at her. His deep dark eyes were filled with a light she couldn't understand. Chapter 197. Chen Ning was speechless once again. She already could not think of a reason to reject him. Seeing his serious appearance, she knew that he was determined to follow her. Young Master Mo, let's talk about this in advance. If you go back with me, you will only be protecting me and not killing people. You can't casually kill people. Chen Ning gritted her teeth and decided to set 3 rules with him. Mo Chuan slightly raised his chin and said with an expressionless face, the price of me killing people is not something you can afford. His voice was filled with arrogance. All right, although his words were not pleasant to hear, Chen Ning understood his meaning. That was agreement. She let out a sigh of relief before she heard Mo Chuan slowly add, sometimes, I will also kill people for free. Chen Ning almost spat out a mouthful of blood. She stared at him. Did he need to take such a long time to speak? Listening to his words, if he was not pleasing to the eye, would he still kill people without a single word? Let's go. Mo Chuan did not look at her anymore. Go where? Home. He said in a very natural manner. All right, go home then go home. Thinking of an assassin with such deep martial arts being willing to be her bodyguard, Chen Ning's heart was filled with a little bit of excitement. With him by her side to protect her, she would not have to worry about that cheap man Chu Xiaoyang wanting to harm her. She had a smile on her face as she led the date red horse in front. She suddenly found that there was another person beside her. Mo Chuan was walking shoulder to shoulder with her, walking at a moderate pace. I don't like walking behind others. Mo Chuan softly said. All right, then you walk in front. Chen Ning gritted her teeth. She did not want to walk shoulder to shoulder with him at all. This kind of intimate and ambiguous position, and he was a complete stranger to her. I don't know the way. Mo Chuan said. Chen Ning really wanted to ask him, was he doing this on purpose? Helplessly, she could only go around to the other side and hold the horse with her other hand. The date red horse was in between the two of them as she continued forward. She was not used to being too close to strangers because there was a safe distance between people and an intimate distance. If this safe distance was crossed, it would make her feel uncomfortable. This is a good horse. Mo Chuan's eyes looked over and fell onto the date red horse. This was the second time he had praised it. Chen Ning was a little proud as she deliberately asked, Oh. What do you think is good about it? Don't you think it's ugly? Ugly? No, it's not ugly at all. Mo Chuan carefully looked over the date red horse with a serious expression, look at a horse's bones and not its skin. Its forehead is wide and big, its leg bones are short and thick, and its sternum is deep and long. This is a rare 1,000 li horse. He had always been a man of few words, but when it came to horses, he could not stop talking. It could be seen that he was a man who knew how to judge horses and loved them. When Chen Ning heard this, she was pleasantly surprised. She stroked the date red horse's mane. The reason why she chose this purplish red horse was because she saw that the horses in the stable were fat and strong, had glossy fur, and had good food and shelter. Only this purplish red horse was thin and withered, and it didn't need anyone to take care of it. It also ate stale grass, so she couldn't help but feel indignant. She never would have. Bye-bye to a of. Bye, she. Horse, oh horse, can you follow me from now on? She patted the date red horse's head. The date red horse gave a snort, as if it understood her words. Good horses understand human nature. Your horse has already recognized you as its master, so you won't be able to chase it away in the future. Mo Chuan looked at her with a meaningful gaze. He had some doubts in his heart. Such a good horse wasn't something that an ordinary person could own. Where did this girl find such a fine horse? Chapter 198. We're here. In front of us is where I live. Chen Ning brought Mo Chuan through the back door of the king's palace. Then she found that Mo Chuan had suddenly stopped and was looking at the deep courtyard in the twilight. His eyes became deep and unfathomable. This is your home. He seemed to take in a cold breath. It can't be considered my home, but I'm currently living here. Chen Ning nodded and asked, why? She had indeed treated this as a temporary place to live and had never treated it as her home. Sooner or later, she would have to leave this place. Isn't this the King Ding Yuan Palace? Mo Chuan's voice was a bit cold. That's right. Chen Ning pursed her lips into a smile. There was a bit of sarcasm in her smile, I never thought that you would recognize this as the King Ding Yuan Palace with a single glance. It seems like Chu Xiaoyang is quite famous in the capital city. Chu Xiaoyang. Who is he to you? Mo Chuan's voice became even colder and his deep eyes fell onto her face. He remembered that there was a maid by her side that called her young miss, but she was living in the King Ding Yuan Palace. Damn! When did the King Ding Yuan Palace have a young miss? Why didn't he know? Chu Xiaoyang. He isn't anyone to me and I don't have any relationship with him at all. Chen Ning shrugged her shoulders and spoke in an uncaring manner. In her heart, Chu Xiaoyang was indeed a stranger. She was just a wandering soul from the modern era, she had nothing to do with Chu Xiaoyang. Mo Chuan's eyes were tightly locked onto her. After hearing what she said, he suddenly let out a sigh of relief. He could see that she was telling the truth. Then why are you living here? Another question popped up in his mind. The King Ding Yuan Palace was not a place normal people could casually enter. Alright, since I'm here, I'll tell you the truth. My current identity is the princess of the King Ding Yuan Palace. After Chen Ning said this, she was prepared to see Mo Chuan's shocked expression. She didn't want to hide it from him, but since he didn't ask, she didn't mention it. Mo Chuan was truly shocked, but there was no expression on his face. Chen Ning only heard him suck in a cold breath. You are the country protecting Duke's Chen family's young miss, Chen Ning. Mo Chuan looked at her and said word for word. His eyes were very serious. The twilight gradually faded and Chen Ning found that she couldn't see what his eyes were saying. You even know my name. That's right, I'm Chen Ning. I never thought that I, Chen Ning, would become a well-known person. This is a happy matter worth celebrating. Chen Ning curled her lips and gave a self-deprecating smile. She knew that after she had caused such a scene in the wedding hall, she would definitely be spread all over the world. She was the one of the capital. Perhaps in the capital city, from the emperor to the beggars, there was no one that did not know that the King Ding Yuan Palace had a legal princess that was uglier than a female yiksha. But she did not care at all. The more people laughed at her, the more face Chu Xiaoyang lost. Mo Chuan suppressed the shock in his heart with great difficulty, but he still looked at her with a bit of disbelief. How could she be the rumored good-for-nothing idiot young miss? In his impression, he had never seen a woman who was more intelligent and pure than her. If she was an idiot, then all the women in the world were idiots. So, it was impossible. You aren't Chen Ning. He calmly said. Chen Ning smiled. She tilted her head to look at him and said in a funny voice, Chen Ning isn't a famous person, is there a need for me to pretend to be her? What benefit is there in pretending to be her? As for whether I am Chen Ning or not, won't you know after entering the palace? Chapter 199. After the guard checked the token, he happily let them in. Mo Chuan's footsteps unknowingly became heavy. His heart was heavy and he did not even notice that he was several steps behind Chen Ning. She could enter the palace as she pleased. What did this mean? It meant that what she said was true. She was the Ding Yuan princess, Chen Ning. Young Master Mo. Young Master Mo. He was lost in thought. Chen Ning had to call him several times before he came back to his senses. What's the matter? He slightly looked up with a deep gaze. Young Master Mo, do you have an alias or something else to call me? What do you mean? He knit his brows. Chen Ning said with a faint smile, it's like this. Young Master Mo, you are now my personal guard, so it's not appropriate for me to call you Young Master Mo. If I call you by your full name, it would be disrespectful. As an assassin, young Master Mo wouldn't want to reveal his real name to others, right? So, I think it would be better to call you by a name. This was also reasonable. Of course Mo Chuan did not want her to call him by his real name. He hesitated for a bit and said, I don't have an alias, so you can call me whatever you want. How can you call me so casually? Chen Ning rolled her eyes and said with a giggle, if you don't mind, how about I help you pick one? All right. He nodded in agreement. Then, how about I call you Xiao He? I see that you like wearing black clothes and your surname is Mo, so it's quite appropriate. She revealed a smile. Mo Chuan's face instantly turned dark. He was hoping that she would think of a different name for him, but... Xiao He. What kind of ghost was this? Xiao He, Xiao He. And this name is very easy to say, you don't mind, right? Chen Ning was very satisfied with the name she casually came up with. No, I don't. Mo Chuan's voice was squeezed out from between his teeth, making his teeth ache. Then that's good. I'll call you Xiao He from now on. Chen Ning smiled like a proud little fox. She couldn't help thinking of Chu Xiaobai. One of them was black and one was white, they really were a good match. Mo Chuan was too lazy to even say anything. He silently followed Chen Ning to the flowing cloud pavilion. God! Princess Consort, you're still alive. Princess Consort, this servant isn't seeing things, right? Is it really you? When Chen Ning appeared at the flowing cloud pavilion's door, Chun Tao and Xia Tao charged out at the same time. The two of them had teary eyes and when they saw Chen Ning, their eyes almost fell out. Princess Consort, this servant heard that when you went out to ride a horse, something happened to you. We couldn't find you alive or dead, so this servant was scared out of her wits. I never thought that the Princess Consort would come back safe and sound. I really thank the heavens for the blessing of the heavens. Chun Tao wiped her tears and looked at Chen Ning without blinking. Her face was filled with joy. Xia He was also very excited. The two of them kept asking Chen Ning questions. After hearing the news from the horse farm, she and Chun Tao were both scared out of their wits. The two of them cried for an entire afternoon. If something really happened to the Princess Consort, they would not have a tree to shelter them from the wind and rain. They would not have a place in the king's palace in the future. Adding in the fact that the two of them had been with Chen Ning for a long time, their feelings for Chen Ning became deeper day by day. The two of them felt sad for Chen Ning. All right, don't cry. Aren't I back in one piece now? Chen Ning patted the shoulders of the two maids to comfort them. She could see that these two maids were truly devoted to her. Where's Xiao Ru? Why don't I see her? Chapter 200. Reporting to the Princess Consort, little sister Xiao Ru has been at the horse track the entire time. She said that she had to wait for you to come back, otherwise she wouldn't leave even if she died. Xia He said. Chen Ning's heart filled with warmth as she muttered, this silly girl. Xia He, go to the horse track and find Xiao Ru. Tell her that I'm fine and that she doesn't need to worry. Yes, Princess Consort. Xia He replied. When she was prepared to leave, she suddenly saw Mo Chuan in the shadows and was shocked. Ah! Where did this man come from? Who are you? She pointed at Mo Chuan and screamed out. Mo Chuan did not say a word and did not even look at her. His body released a cold aura that no one could approach. Xia He felt a chill run down her body and swallowed the curses she wanted to say back into her stomach. This man was too terrifying. Chun Tao, Xia he is my benefactor, he is the one who saved me. His martial arts are very good, so I asked him to be my personal bodyguard. You can call him Bodyguard He. Bodyguard He will live in the flowing cloud pavilion from now on, so you two have to be respectful to Bodyguard He. You're not allowed to be rude at all, do you understand? Chen Ning looked at the two maids with a serious expression and spoke in a deep voice. She did not want these two maids to offend Imo Chuan for no reason, otherwise they wouldn't even know how they died. Yes, Princess Consort. This servant understands. Chun Tao and Xia he replied in unison. The two of them secretly looked over at Imo Chuan at the same time. Seeing that he did not even look at them, they thought in their hearts, was he just a bodyguard? Even if he saved the Princess Consort, it wasn't anything special, what was there to be proud of? Chun Tao, go and arrange a place for bodyguard He to live in. He can live in the room next to mine. Chen Ning thought about it and felt that it was safer for Imo Chuan to live closer to her. The lips of the two maids couldn't help twitching as they looked at each other in blank dismay. Why aren't you going yet? Chen Ning looked up. Princess Consort, this servant has something that I don't know if I should say or not. Chun Tao gathered her courage and carefully looked at Chen Ning. If it was before, she would not have dared to say it. But after being with Chen Ning for a while, she knew that Chen Ning was a reasonable person, so she gathered her courage. Say it. Chun Tao sneaked a peek at Imo Chuan and was immediately frozen by that cold aura. She quickly turned her head. Chun Tao's Princess Consort has a noble status. If a bodyguard lives in the Princess Consort's courtyard, this servant would be worried. She tactfully said. The Princess Consort has a noble status, and if a guard is placed in the Princess Consort's courtyard, this servant is worried that His Highness might mind. She tactfully said. What she was thinking in her heart was that the Princess Consort was too bold, not putting His Highness in her eyes at all. She had openly brought a male guard into the palace and even let him live in the room next to hers. Wasn't this just giving His Highness a hard time? She didn't know what to do. Even if His Highness did not like the Princess Consort, he would not be happy to see his legal wife living in the same courtyard as a male guard. Not to mention the fact that they all liked Chen Ning, secretly hoping that His Highness would change his mind and live in harmony with the Princess Consort. After all, His Highness was the Princess Consort's eternal home. Chapter 201. Wang. Princess Consort. Chun Tao's mouth fell open in shock. Her heart felt that something was wrong, but she couldn't tell what was wrong. Could it be that the princess really didn't want to win His Highness' favor and love? This is the Flowing Cloud Pavilion, this princess has the final say here. Chun Tao, follow this princess' orders. Chen Ning's face sunk. Chun Tao's heart skipped a beat and she quickly agreed. She did not dare approach Imo Chuan and bowed to him from afar. Bodyguard He, please come with this servant. Bodyguard He. The corner of Imo Chuan's eyes twitched. He took a deep breath and decided that from today onwards, he would work hard to adapt to this new title. He glanced at Chen Ning and walked into the garden without saying a word. Chun Tao quickly sped up and chased after him. Chen Ning felt this was very funny. His back was straight and his steps were very steady, just like a proud crane. Interesting, she had actually brought back an assassin as a bodyguard. This was really interesting. Xiao Ru quickly returned to the Flowing Cloud Pavilion with Xia He. Once she saw Chen Ning, she burst into tears and threw herself into Chen Ning's embrace. She cried until her throat was blocked and she couldn't say a single word. Silly girl, what are you crying for? Aren't I perfectly fine right now? Not even a single strand of hair is missing. If you don't believe me, why don't you count it? Chen Ning smiled as she patted her back. She deliberately said this joke to tease her, but her heart was very touched. Xiao Ru raised her blurry eyes and sniffled as she said, "Young miss, this servant. This servant really thought that I would never see you again in this life." Woo, 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 woo. All right, stop crying. If you keep crying, your eyes will turn into rotten peaches and you won't be able to see anyone at that time. Hearing this, Xiaoru quickly wiped her tears and said while sobbing, "This servant's eyes are not rotten peaches. Young miss, you only know how to scare this servant." She circled around Qin Ning a few times and found that Qin Ning was not injured. Then she let out a sigh of relief and puffed up her cheeks. She bitterly scolded, "That bastard highness. This servant hates him to death. He was a big bad guy without a heart. Young miss, if something really happened to you, this servant will not let that bastard highness go." She had personally seen Chu Xiaoyang whip the date red horses causing the young miss horse to jump over the fence. So she hated Chu Xiaoyang to the extreme. She no longer had any scruples with her words as she kept calling him a bastard highness. Chen Tao and Xia He were so scared that their faces turned white and they quickly covered Xiaoru. "Little sister Xiaoru, you can't insult His Highness like this. This is a great disrespect. If His Highness hears of this, he will lose his head." "I'm not afraid of losing my head. Chu Xiaoyang is a bastard, a big bastard." Xiaoru's face turned red as she continued to curse. Xiao laugh. Xiao Qin He Xiao Qin Qin, Xiao Qin, Qin, Xiao, Qin, Xiao, Ning, Xiao, Qin, Qin, Xiao, Qin, Xiao Qin Ning Qin, Xiao, Xiao. This servant does not believe that there is no law in this world. Even if others do not help young miss, the emperor will uphold justice. He will not let that murderer go. King. Chen Ning found this new and asked, "Can you see the emperor?" Xiaoru was like a deflated ball. Her little face fell and she said in a dejected voice, "I can't." Chapter 202. Young miss, but this servant will go to the border to find the old master. I believe that the old master knows about the young miss matter and will definitely come back to take revenge for you. Xiaoru's eyes lit up. Old master. Are you talking about my father? After transmigrating for so long, Chen Ning had forgotten that her body had a birth father, the country-protecting Duke, Great General Qin. Only he had been stationed at the border for many years and had not returned to the capital city for many years. However, his fame and loyalty was well known by everyone. When mentioning Great General Qin, there was not a single person who did not give him a thumbs up. It was because the emperor loved Great General Qin that he gave the decree to Great General Qin's only daughter, Chen Ning, who was her original body, to marry Ding Yuan King Chu Xiaoyang. That's right, young miss. If that bastard highness dares to bully you again, this servant will go to the border to find the old master. Xiaoru clenched her fist and swore. Chen Ning shook her head and said with a serious expression, "No, running back to an adult to complain after being bullied is something only a child would do. Not to mention that my father has been guarding the border for a long time, so how could I use this kind of small matter to trouble him? Also, this is my own matter, so I will solve it myself. But, what if that bastard highness dares to bully you again and think of a way to harm you? Young miss, you can't beat him." Xiaoru was so anxious that tears came out. "If I can't beat him, then naturally there will be someone else to deal with him. Just open your eyes and watch the show," Chen Ning confidently said. With an expert like Imo Chuan as her bodyguard, she was filled with confidence. She couldn't wait for Chu Xiaoyang to come and provoke her. She did not believe that Imo Chuan could not beat that Chu Xiaoyang. That's right, where is that bastard highness? Where is he? The Peach Blossom Cove? Or the Intoxicated Flower Pavilion? Chen Ning thought of that whip and wanted to give him a few thunderbolt eggs to have a taste of. The three maids shook their heads and said, "This servant does not know." "All right, you've been tired all day, go and have a good rest." Chen Ning waved her hand. Chun Tao and Xia He bowed and left. Xiao Ru pulled on her sleeve and said, "Young miss, this servant wants to keep watch for you tonight, all right?" She had been worried for most of the day and was not willing to part with Chen Ning. Chen Ning looked at her eyes that were swollen like peaches and pinched her cheeks with a bit of heartache. She said, "Come, I'll bring you to see a person. He saved me today, so when you see him, you have to be reserved for me and don't make a fuss, do you understand?" Xiao Ru pouted in an unconvinced manner, "Young miss, this servant has always been very reserved and has never made a fuss." Xiao Ru looked at her with a smile. "Xiao Ru, this servant has always been very careful." She pulled Xiao Ru's hand and walked to the side room. Before she could even knock on the door was open from the inside. Mo Chuan's tall figure proudly stood there. His eyes fell onto Chen Ning's face, but he did not say a word. Chen Xiao Xiao Mo, Master Long Mo, and Xiao Master Long Xiao Master, the master was, Xiao, the, even if Chen Ning did not come to find him, he would have asked Chen Ning sooner or later. Ning, Xiao, Xiao Master Chin, Master Long, Master Chin Master Chin, young miss, he is a rich young master. Xiao Ru first sucked in a breath of cold air, then she cried out in pleasant surprise as her eyes sparkled. Ku. Chen Ning gave a few coughs. Chapter 203. Young miss, this servant never thought that the person who saved you would be young Master Money. This servant definitely won't be like this next time. Xiao Ru immediately came back to her senses and scratched her head in embarrassment. Xiao Ru, he is not surnamed Money. You're not allowed to call him a lot of money in the future. Chen Ning stared at Xiao Ru. Then what should this servant call him? Xiao Ru looked at Mo Chuan in curiosity. Mo Chuan's face was expressionless as usual. He is now my personal bodyguard and will live here in the future. You can call him Bodyguard He. Remember, Bodyguard He is my benefactor, so you have to be respectful to him. You're not allowed to be rude and you're not allowed to speak carelessly. Otherwise, I'll heavily smack your butt. Chen Ning's face turned serious. She knew that this girl's mouth was too fast and if she didn't warn her, she would spill everything to Mo Chuan, not caring if he was willing to listen or not. Yes, young miss. This servant understands. Xiao Ru stuck out her tongue. Although Chen Ning's words were harsh, she had grown up with the young miss, so she wasn't afraid. She looked behind Mo Chuan a few times. Qian. Oh, no, Bodyguard He, where is that Xiao Si by your side? He didn't come with you. Mo Chuan's eyes sparkled and he looked at Xiao Ru with interest. You want to see him? That's right, I want to see him. I've been thinking about him these past few days. Xiao Ru directly said. Although the young miss said that the fox Xiao Si was not a good person, she would often dream of Xiao Si's crescent moon-like eyes when he smiled. Sometimes she wouldn't be able to stop herself from smiling. Chen Ning couldn't help scolding, Xiao Ru, you have to be reserved. Do you understand being reserved? She slapped the back of Xiao Ru's head in disappointment. This girl was simply throwing away all her face. Mo Chuan's eyes flashed with a smile and he seriously nodded to Xiao Ru. All right, I'll have him come see you. All right. Can I see him tomorrow? Xiao Ru opened her eyes wide in surprise. Chen Ning wished she could kick Xiao Ru back into her mother's stomach. Go to sleep for me. If you dare say another word, I'll cut off your tongue. She grabbed Xiao Ru's ear and threw her out without saying a word. She patted her hands and turned to close the door. Then her ears fell silent. I'm sorry, this girl of mine is short-sighted and speaks without thinking, so please don't take offense. As for what she said about wanting to see Xiao Si, that is pure nonsense. You don't have to take it seriously, you definitely don't have to take it seriously. Mo Chuan stared at her and his eyes were filled with an expression that she could not understand. You don't like Xiaoxi? He suddenly went straight to the point. Chen Ning was caught off guard and blurted out, that's right. As soon as the words left her mouth, she regretted it so much that she wanted to bite off her tongue. This Mo Chuan actually used this trick to trick her. Like master like servant, Xiaoxi must have learned this from his master. Why don't you like Xiaoxi? Chen Ning steeled her heart. Since she had already said it, she might as well say it. Chapter 204. Cool. Mo Chuan suddenly covered his mouth and gave a low cough. This girl's words were really direct, but it made sense. Alright, then I won't tell Xiaoxi. I'll let him continue to be a rock on that street. He softly said. Hearing this, Chen Ning suddenly felt sympathy for Xiaoxi. He actually had this kind of unscrupulous master, he really was too unlucky. That's right, if you lack anything or have any dissatisfaction, just tell me. I'll have the maids prepare it for you. Mo Chuan indifferently nodded, but his dark as ink eyes were still staring at her. You really are young Miss Chin. He suddenly said, using a confident tone. Chen Ning revealed a smile. As expected, assassins were very suspicious and did not easily trust others. I've never said that I'm not, why do you only believe that I'm Chen Ning now? Because you're different from the rumored young Miss Chen. Mo Chuan slowly said. Oh, what is the rumored young Miss Chen like and what am I? She looked at him with interest. He tightly closed his mouth. Don't talk about other people behind their backs and don't talk about it in front of them. This was a virtue that a gentleman must have. Not to mention that rumors were just rumors. He believed that the one in front of him was the real her. Seeing that he did not reply, Chen Ning did not ask any further. She giggled as she looked around the room. It's already getting late, you should rest early. She opened the door and turned to leave. She suddenly turned her head and glanced at him with a smile. Xiaohei, don't you feel stuffy wearing that thing on your face? It's time to take it off and let the skin on your face breathe in, otherwise you'll get a pimple. Mo Chuan's pupils suddenly shrank, what did you say? He grabbed her wrist and yanked her back into the room. With a bang, the door slammed shut. Ze, so rough. What, because I exposed your secret, are you going to kill me to silence me? Although Chen Ning's wrist was in pain, her face revealed a smile as if she did not care. Her eyes fell onto his face and her clear as water eyes looked around. Being close to him, she could see more clearly and she was even more sure that her judgment was not wrong. This fellow really was wearing a thin as a cicada's skin mask. No wonder his face did not have any expressions. No wonder even a master like her, who was good at observing expressions, would be defeated in front of him. It turned out he was wearing a fake face. What secret? What you're saying, I don't understand. Mo Chuan realized that he had lost his composure and quickly recovered his calm. He let go of her and crossed his arms in front of his chest, coldly staring at her. Let's not beat around the bush in front of an honest person. Why do you need to be so secretive? Chen Ning slowly pointed at him, your arms are crossed, this is a defensive posture. Usually when you do this, it means that you are very cautious or that you are trying to deny something. Xiaohei, am I right? She rubbed her wrist where he had grabbed her and winked at him. Moch. Chen Ning smiled again, trying to cover something up is referring to you right now. Mo Chuan's brows slowly jumped up as he angrily stared at her. Right now, he felt like he was transparent in front of her. No matter what he said or did, she would always be able to guess what he was thinking in his heart. Chapter 205. Isn't it just wearing a skin mask? Even if I find out, it's no big deal. I won't tell anyone, you can be assured of this. I'm just a little curious, what does your face look like under the mask? Can you take off the mask and let me see your face? Chen Ning's eyes blinked as her eyes filled with curiosity. Of course I can. Mo Chuan calmly said. Really? Chen Ning was very surprised. She thought that he would refuse. Mo Chuan's eyes didn't even blink as he stared right at her. Are you sure you want to see? I want to see. Chen Ning saw Mo Chuan's hand slowly rise and place it behind his ear. She couldn't help holding her breath and opening her eyes wide, preparing to see this mysterious assassin's true face. Before I take off my mask, I want to tell you one thing. Mo Chuan's hand did not move as he slowly said word for word, in this world, everyone that has seen my true face is no longer here. Then he seriously looked at her. Now, do you still want to see my face? What? Chen Ning was stunned and immediately used her hand to cover her eyes. I don't want to see it, I don't want to see it. Actually, your true face isn't that good to see. I'm afraid that I'll have nightmares after seeing it, so I'll go back to sleep. Xiao Hei, it's getting late, you should also rest. She covered her eyes with one hand and opened the door with the other. She quickly left and slammed the door shut. So dangerous, so dangerous. That damn Mo Chuan, he only knows how to scare people. She patted her chest, her heart still beating a bit fast. In the room, Mo Chuan's right hand slowly came down from his ear and his lips couldn't help curling into a smile. Interesting, this girl was truly interesting. He suddenly had a bit of anticipation for his future. Although there were still many doubts in his heart and many questions he wanted to ask, he was not in a rush. The days he would be with her were still long. Mo Chuan slowly walked over to the bed and sat cross-legged on it. He did not lie down to sleep, rather he closed his eyes and began to circulate his internal energy. He channeled a mouthful of inner breath into his dantian. His mind wandered and his mind was in sync with his spirit. He felt that his inner strength was dense and endless. Reaching this realm, even if there was a falling leaf in a 1-mile radius, it would not be able to escape his eyes and ears. Ta! A soft sound came from the silent night. Mo Chuan's ears perked up and he opened his eyes. This was the sound of someone's feet landing on the roof tiles. Moreover, that person's qing gong was excellent, landing almost noiselessly. If it wasn't for the fact that he was concentrating on circulating his qi, he probably wouldn't have been able to detect it. He quickly found that the sound was coming from where he was. Could it be? Mo Chuan knit his brows. His whereabouts had always been hidden, so he shouldn't have been discovered. Oh, I understand. The person who came was not looking for me, but me, who lives in the next room. Sure enough, he heard footsteps that lighter than cat steps heading towards Chen's room. Sure enough, he heard a cat steps heading towards Mo Chen walking. With him here, who would want to harm her? Mo Chen. Mo Chuan's expression did not change as he quietly stood up, not making a single sound. He could hear that this person's qinggong was very high and his internal energy was not bad, but compared to him, it was not just a little bit inferior. Chapter 206. Jia, with another soft sound, that person slowly opened the window and jumped in. Flower thief. This was the first thought that entered Mo Chuan's mind. He didn't even think as he opened the window and jumped in. He was no longer in his room, but rather in Chen Ning's room. Looking up, he saw a white-clothed figure holding a bamboo basket in his hand, slowly walking over to Chen Ning who was lying on the bed. That flower thief might have been too focused and adding in Mo Chuan's quick movements, he didn't notice that there was another person in the room. Chen Ning didn't like sleeping with curtains, she always felt it was stuffy. The light muslin curtains were hung on the two sides of the bed with two silver hooks, not being put down. Therefore, her sleeping posture was clearly displayed in front of the two men. A ray of moonlight shined in front of the bed, illuminating her entire face. Her sleeping face was sweet and the corners of her lips were slightly curled up, revealing a faint smile, as if she was having a good dream. A snow lotus-like jade arm was placed in front of her chest, with her hair covering the pillow. There was a red brocade quilt over her body, with a corner of it falling out of the bed. Even when she was sleeping, she was fully dressed, and only half of her arms were exposed. However, that kind of lazy and unrestrained sleeping posture had an indescribable temptation, firmly attracting the gaze of the white-clothed figure. He quietly stood 3 feet away from the bed and put down the bamboo basket in his hand. He stared at her sleeping face, not making a single sound. Borrowing the bright moonlight, Mo Chuan found that the flower thief had brought a basket full of eggs. This flower thief was giving eggs to the flower he wanted to steal. Mo Chuan found that he couldn't understand this thief at all. He was confused, but he decided to wait and see, not disturbing this strange thief. He had a calm personality, always planning before making a move. He would never recklessly make a decision, even more so at this time. If this flower thief really wanted to do something to her, he would make a move at that time. Finally, the white-clothed figure moved. He silently took a step forward, his eyes unblinking as he stared at her white and delicate face. Finally, he slowly bent down, held his breath, and kissed the slightly upturned red lips that he had been thinking about for a long time. Mo Chuan was enraged. As it turned out, he was really a rapist. He actually dared to do such a dirty thing right under his nose. He definitely wouldn't forgive him. Your Excellency, with your high skills, I never thought that you would do this kind of shameless flower-picking thing. Don't you feel ashamed? His lips were about to touch and a faint sweetness filled his nose. The white-clothed man was completely intoxicated when he suddenly heard a cold laugh from behind him. It made him break out in a cold sweat. He straightened up abruptly and turned around. With his martial arts, how could he wait until someone was close to him to notice? When he saw Mo Chuan standing less than 10 feet behind him, his eyes turned cold. This black-clothed man had silently appeared in her room, he definitely did not have good intentions. He asked himself if he was a shameless flower thief, perhaps he was the real shameless flower thief. Where did you come from? The white-clothed man asked in a deep voice. Where did you come from? Mo Chuan coldly retorted. The moonlight shined on the white-clothed man's face and his hair was blown by the wind from the window. His white robe was spotless, his eyes were like stars and his face was like jade. It's you. Chapter 207. You recognize me? The white-clothed man knit his brows. He carefully looked at Mo Chuan, who seemed to have merged with the shadows, and found that he was a stranger that he did not recognize at all. The famous King Jing'an, Chu Xiaobai, who in the capital city doesn't know you? Who doesn't know you? I never thought that a person of noble birth like you would be an adulterer. Chu Xiaobai, are you not afraid of losing the face of your ancestors? Mo Chuan's expressionless black eyes suddenly burned with rage. His eyes lit up and he suddenly raised his right palm, sending it at Chu Xiaobai's handsome and flawless face. Stinky brat, today I will teach a shameless and unfilial descendant a lesson in place of your ancestors. His palm was like a blade and the wind from his palm was released, creating a cold wind in the room. Chu Xiaobai never thought that the other side would attack him like this, so he was shocked. He knew how strong it was and quickly dodged to the right, avoiding Mo Chuan's palm. However, his cheeks were already aching from the wind. Such deep cultivation. Just from this palm, Chu Xiaobai knew that Mo Chuan's cultivation was above his own. Where did such a powerful person come from? What kind of thing are you? What qualifications do you have to teach me a lesson? Your Excellency sneaking into a girl's room in the middle of the night, what kind of good thing are you? Although Chu Xiaobai knew that he was not a match, he could not endure this kind of anger. Especially since this strange man was insulting his ancestors, he could not endure this. His right hand formed a fist and he threw it at Imo Chuan's face, wanting to make this man's face blossom with a single punch. The anger in his heart was not only because of Imo Chuan insulting him, but also because of her. The more he thought about it, the more afraid he became. If he had not come to see her tonight, perhaps she would have been killed by this black-clothed man. You've done something wrong and you still dare to argue. I will properly teach a fellow like you a lesson. Imo Chuan seemed like he was truly angry. His body swayed and he appeared behind Chu Xiaobai, sending a palm flying at his back. Chu Xiaobai heard the wind behind him and knew it was bad. He turned his hand to block it and the two palms collided in the air, releasing a pu sound. Imo Chuan stood in the same place without moving, but Chu Xiaobai took 3 steps back. The advantages and disadvantages of this palm were obvious. But the higher his martial arts, the more Chu Xiaobai looked down on him. He angrily spat out. You have this kind of skill, but you're doing this kind of dirty business, you're the scum of the martial arts world. Slander, baiting back, you're the true scum. Their eyes met in the air, sparks flying, you stare at me, I stare at you. After the two of them finished glaring at each other, they began to fight again. Wind from their palms rose up in all directions, creating whistling sounds. With a pa sound, Chu Xiaobai couldn't dodge in time and his right cheek was slapped by Imo Chuan. It was so painful that he let out an io sound. Imo Chuan's ss, like he was stunned. Imo Chuan's his look. Imo Chuan's like he was. Don't pretend to be kind here. He's with MOSSSS, Mo Shua Xiao Chuan Mo, SSSCHSS, stinky brat, you dare hit me? Imo Chuan was also angry. His fists tightly clenched and his eyes seemed like they were about to spit out flames. I'm hitting you. Chu Xiaobai gritted his teeth. His palms crossed as he charged forward. Chapter 208. Chen Ning was in a daze from her sleep, but she was finally woken up by the sound of fighting. She heard the sound of wind blowing in the room and couldn't help muttering in a suspicious voice, "Is there wind?" When she opened her eyes, she saw 2 figures, one white and one black, dashing and dodging around her room like butterflies, fighting fiercely. Is this a martial arts movie? She rubbed her eyes, thinking that she was dreaming and had returned to the modern era. Imo Chuan and Chu Xiaobai's movements were very fast, so fast that she couldn't even see their faces. After a while, she finally recognized them. Hey, the two of you, stop fighting. Tell me what's going on first. She sat up on the bed and looked at the 2 people fighting. She felt that it was interesting. Imo Chuan and Chu Xiaobai's eyes were red. They were fighting in full swing, forgetting everything around them, so they didn't hear what she said at all. Pang, pang, pang. Paw, paw, paw. Fists and feet clashed and the 2 of them were hit by each other's fists and kicks. It was a good thing their internal energy was deep, so they only felt a bit of pain and didn't receive any internal injuries. The 2 of them were in pain as they both jumped back. They stared at each other and then began to fight again. Chen Ning felt a headache just watching this. Looking at the 2 of them, were they going to fight to the death? Did these 2 know each other before? Did they have a grudge? Chen Ning rubbed her forehead that had a headache. She was thinking of how to separate these 2 fellows who were fighting like chickens. These two fellows were too fast and she couldn't even see them clearly. If she rushed forward to stop them, she would just be sending herself to death. She lifted a large vase on the shelf and forcefully threw it to the ground. A quang dang sound rang out. Like a clap of thunder, the two people who had been blinded by anger were instantly awakened. The two of them slowed down at the same time and then they both jumped back, maintaining a certain distance. But they still stared at each other, neither of them willing to admit defeat. Paw! 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 Chen Ning began to clap for them with a smile. Xiao Bai, Xiao Hei, good martial arts. What happened? Mo Chuan and Chu Xiaobai were stunned. The two of them looked at Chen Ning and asked at the same time, you know him? After asking, the two of them glared at each other and snorted loudly at the same time. Chen Ning angrily glared at the two of them. Of course I know him, I know both of you. She walked in between the two of them and looked at them. Both of them were in a sorry state, with footprints all over their clothes. Although Mo Chuan was wearing a human skin mask, Chen Ning could see it with a single glance. His chin was swollen, turning blue and purple, as if it had grown a bit. He must have taken a vicious punch from Chu Xiaobai. As for Chu Xiaobai, he looked even worse than Mo Chuan. There were 5 red and purple finger marks on his handsome right cheek. It looked like he had been hit by Mo Chuan's 5-finger mountain. This Mo Chuan did not hold back at all. Which one of you can tell me why you're fighting? Also tell me, why are you in my room in the middle of the night? Is there a treasure in my room and you're here to find it? Chen Ning raised her brows and found a chair to sit down, waiting for the two of them to speak. Humph. He wants to take advantage of you. Humph. He has bad intentions. Mo Chuan and Chu Xiaobai spoke at the same time. Chen Ning was confused. Chapter 209. This really is interesting. Chen Ning raised her brows and found that Mo Chuan and Chu Xiaobai had turned their necks to the side. No one looked at the other and they were both filled with anger. It was like two angry children. She guessed that if she hadn't suddenly woken up, wouldn't the two of them have fought to the death? What kind of grudge did they have? AI, can you tell me one by one? Xiao Bai, tell me, what are you doing here? Why are you fighting with Xiao Hei? Chen Ning turned to look at Chu Xiaobai. Chu Xiaobai angrily turned his head and glared at Mo Chuan. This fellow is called Xiao Hei. Where did he come from? He snuck into your room in the middle of the night, he must be plotting something. You really are a lecherous demon, actually complaining first. It was clearly you who snuck into a girl's room and wanted to take advantage of her. Mo Chuan crossed his arms and gave a cold laugh. You're speaking nonsense. Who's the lecherous demon? When did I take advantage of her? Chu Xiaobai's face turned red, but he did not dare look at Chen Ning with a guilty conscience. Do you take me for a blind man? If I hadn't stopped him in time, Miss Chen, you would have already been taken advantage of by this brat. Mo Chuan gave a cold laugh. Nonsense. I wasn't taking advantage of her, I saw a mosquito and wanted to help her kill it. Chu Xiaobai stubbornly said, but his heart was still beating fast. It's over. If Chen Ning knew that he had secretly kissed her while she was asleep, she would definitely be angry at him and ignore him. So he couldn't admit it, he wouldn't admit it even if he was beaten to death. Hearing this, Mo Chuan looked up into the sky and gave a laugh. His eyes were filled with ridicule. Funny, this really is funny. When did mosquitoes appear in the middle of March? Are you trying to turn into a mosquito and suck the blood on Miss Chen's face? You. Nonsense. Chu Xiaobai was speechless, so he could only deny it. But with the two of them arguing, Chen Ning had already understood what was going on and she couldn't help laughing. So it was like this. She looked at Chu Xiaobai and saw the embarrassed look on his face. Her eyes swept over and fell onto the basket beside the bed. There was a basket full of eggs and she knew what was going on. It seemed like Chu Xiaobai had sent her eggs in the middle of the night and Mo Chuan had thought he wanted to take advantage of her, causing a world war. It was a good that there wasn't a river of blood. Ze, don't look at how silent Mo Chuan was normally, treating his words like gold, but his mouth was truly powerful. Chu Xiaobai was at a complete disadvantage when arguing with him. Chen Ning's eyes began to roll. She was not angry with Chu Xiaobai because she knew that he would not do anything to her. If he really wanted to take advantage of her, he had plenty of opportunities. Why would he wait until now? Mo Chuan must have. Actually, it's all a misunderstanding. Both of you are my friends. It can be said that no discord, no concord. Why don't we get to know each other again and turn enemies into friends? Chen Ning giggled as she prepared to resolve the conflict between the two of them. Actually, it wasn't a big deal at all. Tell me first, who is he? Why is he here? You said he's called Xiao He. What kind of ghost is Xiao He? If he doesn't tell me his background, I won't be friends with this black ghost. Chu Xiaobai turned his face away. Chapter 210. Do you think I want to be friends with a pervert like you? I am a man, I can go up to the heavens and down to the earth. If you want to be friends with me, you are not worthy at all. Mo Chuan gave a cold laugh. When his mouth became poisonous, it was even more poisonous than arsenic. Chu Xiaobai gave an angry laugh. He turned around and stared at Mo Chuan with eyes filled with flames. Only talking and no action, black ghost, you really know how to boast. If you're really a hero, let's see who's the real deal. Do you dare to go out and have a match with me? Whoever loses has to kneel down and kowtow to the other party 3 times. Black devil, do you dare? Do you think I'm afraid of a shameless person like you? Let's fight, we'll fight as you wish. Pervert, just wait to kowtow to me 3 times. Mo Chuan had a cold and arrogant expression, not placing Chu Xiaobai in his eyes at all. The two of them were equally arrogant and their tone was even more arrogant than the other. Chen Ning didn't know whether to laugh or cry hearing this. It was said that 3 women made a play, but she never thought that these 2 men would not be inferior at all. But what kind of martial arts scene was this? Alright, let's go out and fight. Let's go. The two of them reached a deadlock and were about to make a move. Chen Ning's brows raised. She raised another vase on the shelf and smashed it on the ground with a tchang lang sound. Chu Xiaobai and Mo Chuan were both stunned. Are you 2 done yet? How long are you going to keep this up? If you don't explain things clearly today, no one is allowed to leave. Chen Ning's face turned serious as she mercilessly shouted at the two of them. In terms of martial arts, she couldn't catch up to Mo Chuan and Chu Xiaobai even if she sat on a rocket. It was a good thing that in this world, it wasn't just having a strong fist that gave you confidence. Being scolded by Chen Ning like this, the two of them who were ready to fight suddenly lost their momentum. Alright, for Ning's sake, I won't argue with you. Chu Xiaobai glared at Mo Chuan and decided to endure this anger. As long as Chen Ning wasn't angry, he didn't care what he did. Who would have thought that Mo Chuan wouldn't appreciate it? You're quite affectionate. Your Highness King Jing'an, you shouldn't be calling her 3rd sister-in-law, right? He gave a cold laugh. She isn't my 3rd sister-in-law. My 3rd brother has never treated her as his wife and has never married her. Chu Xiaobai shouted with red eyes. This third sister-in-law was like an awl that stabbed him. King-in-law is the same as your third brother-in-law. Even if you want to hit on her, you have to wait until your third brother divorces her. Otherwise you'll be doing something even worse than a beast and will lose the face of your ancestors. Mo Chuan gave Chu Xiaobai a lesson. Chu Xiaobai was stunned from being scolded. It took a while for him to react as his hands clenched into fists. King! 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 Do you know who I am? He enunciated each word clearly. Pervert, of course I know who you are. Aren't you the noble King Jing'an? Open your eyes wide and take a good look at where you are. This is the King Ding Yuan Palace, not your King Jing'an Palace. The room you are in is your third brother's princess bedroom. If King Ding Yuan saw his blood-related little brother come to his princess bedroom in the middle of the night, what do you think he would think? Mo Chuan asked in a righteous tone, almost pressing on Chu Xiaobai's face. Chu Xiaobai's face turned red from his words and his eyes seemed like they were about to spit fire. He angrily said, what does what he thinks have to do with me? He hit her, scolded her, abused her, but I want to dote on her and love her. If my third brother was here, I would still say the same thing. I like his princess. He treats his princess like grass, but I treat her like a treasure. He doesn't care about his princess, but I do. If he is willing to divorce her, I will immediately take her as my princess. His words were crisp and clear, powerful and resonant. Chapter 211. Even Chu Xiaobai never thought that he would say everything he had hidden in his heart like this, without any hesitation at all. Damn! Why did he not hold back at all? She would laugh at him and reject him. In the future, he wouldn't be able to be a human in front of her. Chu Xiaobai wanted to bite off his own tongue. His face turned blood red and he did not dare look at Chen Ning's face at all. If there was a hole in the ground right now, he would have jumped in without any hesitation. He wanted to jump out the window, but he couldn't bear to. His heart was still filled with anticipation, waiting for her response. Xiaobai, you. Chen Ning bit her lips. She wanted to say something, but she didn't know what to say. Her heart was rolling with waves of heat, and that heat wave rushed into her eyes, making her have an impulse to cry. She always knew that Chu Xiaobai liked her, but she never thought that his feelings for her would be this deep. Her heart was filled with excitement and she could not help feeling touched. Mo Chuan tightly closed his mouth and his thick brows knit together, not saying a single word. Chu Xiaobai's confession was like a heavy hammer that slammed into his heart. His heart felt heavy and even his breathing became heavy. The atmosphere, which was originally tense and on the verge of breaking out, suddenly quietened down. The room was so quiet that a pin drop could be heard. Chen Ning, Chu Xiaobai, and Mo Chuan did not make a sound. They could only hear their breathing becoming a bit rushed. It was clear that their hearts were not calm. About that, Miss Chen, just pretend that I didn't say anything tonight. No, just pretend that I never appeared tonight and never came here. I'm leaving. Chu Xiaobai felt like he had waited for 10 years, but he did not hear Chen Ning's response. His heart filled with disappointment and pain. He felt like he did not have the face to appear in front of her again, so he jumped out the window. With a white flash, he had already jumped onto the roof. Like a white cloud, he floated further and further away, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. Xiaobai. Chu Xiaobai's movements were just too fast. When Chen Ning wanted to chase after him, he was already far away on the roof, not even hearing her call. Chen Ning stomped her foot. This Xiaobai, why was he so impatient? Couldn't he wait a bit longer? she still had things to tell him. Now that he had left, he didn't know if he would come back. If he misunderstood that she didn't like him, he might never appear in front of her again. Little Black, your qigong is good, can you help me chase him back? I have something very important to tell him. Chen Ning sincerely looked at Imo Chuan. She knew that if Imo Chuan was willing to chase, he would definitely be able to catch up. Imo Chuan's eyes were as dark as ink with a glow that she couldn't understand. He gave a soft snort from his nose. Why should I chase after him? It wasn't easy for me to scold him away. It's good that he's gone. He'd better never appear again, or I'll beat him up every time I see him. After he finished speaking, he leapt out of the window. A black shadow flashed, and he was also on the roof. In an instant, he blended into the night and disappeared without a trace. Gone, they're all gone. Chen Ning's eyes popped out, almost not daring to believe that the two fellows who were fighting to the death just disappeared like this. Chapter 212. A Quang Dang sound rang out. Chen Ning was stunned. Her intuition told her that Xiao Bai or Xiao He had come back, so she quickly looked over. She saw Xiao Ru with a head full of messy hair and sleepy eyes as she pushed open the door. Seeing Chen Ning, she drowsily asked, "Young miss, is there thunder?" This servant seems to have heard the sound of thunder. What leg did you say you wanted to break? Chen Ning didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She stared at Xiao Ru and said with a serious face, "If you don't go back to sleep, I'll break your dog leg." After saying this, she forcefully closed the window and bolted it. The next morning, before Chen Ning could even open her eyes, she was woken up by a scream. "Ah! Young miss, did your room get robbed?" No wonder this servant heard the sound of thunder and wind in the middle of the night. It was because the thunder came straight into the room. God! When Xiao Ru entered the door, she was shocked by the mess in the room. She couldn't help letting out a scream. The table had fallen, the chair had collapsed, and the vase had been smashed. The entire room was a complete mess. Only the bed was still intact. It was completely intact, without a single scratch on it. Chen Ning, who was lying on the bed, was wrapped in a blanket, having a good dream. "Young miss, you weren't struck by lightning, right?" Xiao Ru rushed over to the bed in a panic. She looked over Chen Ning from head to toe before finally relaxing. "Damn girl, if you keep cursing me, I'll give you to that fox Xiao Si." Humph. Chen Ning suddenly opened her eyes and grabbed Xiao Ru's ear. "Oh, it hurts, it hurts." "Young miss, quickly let go," Xiao Ru said with a bitter face. Chen Ning smiled as she let go. Her eyes swept over the room. Seeing the mess in the room, she couldn't help being stunned. These two fellows, they really treated her room as a battlefield. She clapped her hands and called Xia He over. Then she ordered, "Tell housekeeper Lin that I don't like any of this furniture. This princess has smashed it, so tell him to give this princess a new set." Xia He saw the wreckage on the floor and her eyes popped out in shock. Hearing that it was Chen Ning who smashed it, her chin almost fell off. Oh, it must be because His Highness had angered the princess at the horse track yesterday, so the princess must have used these tables and chairs as punching bags. The princess must have used a lot of strength, smashing these tables and chairs into small pieces. She's too strong. Yes, princess consort. This servant will immediately do it. Xia He quickly left, her eyes filled with worship for Chen Ning. Chen thought of what happened last night. It was like a game or a dream. She looked down and saw the bamboo basket in front of the bed. The basket was full of proving that everything that happened last night was real. Xiao Bai had come and then left. Xiao! Chen Ning was startled. She suddenly stood up and walked out. Xiao Ning. Xiao Ru grabbed a robe and chased after Chen Ning. She put it on Chen Ning's shoulders and complained, "Even if you can't wait to see bodyguard He, you should at least put on a robe first, otherwise it will be rude." Tu. Chen Xiao Xiao. Of. I shouted to say. Chapter 213. Xiao Ru tied Chen Ning's belt and continued to nag, "Young miss can be assured, this servant won't tell anyone, not even Chun Tao or Xia He. This servant just wants the young miss to be happy. Who cares about his highness or not, as long as he is loyal to the young miss, even if he is a guard, it's fine." Chen Ning didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Xiao Ru, which eye of yours sees that I treat bodyguard He differently, She curled her lips into a smile that wasn't a smile. Xiao Ru suddenly stopped talking and looked at Chen Ning in a daze. "You're right, I indeed don't like Chu Xiaoyang, but I also don't like bodyguard He. In the future, stop messing around with me. I don't need to worry about no one wanting your young miss." She suddenly heard Xiao Bai's confession last night. She revealed a faint smile to Xiao Ru. Her smile was bright and her eyes sparkled. Xiao Ru blurted out, "Young miss, you look really good when you smile." Shoo, stop flattering me." Chen Ning rolled her eyes and walked to the side room. Hearing that there was no movement inside, she reached out and pushed the door open. She walked in and found that the room was empty. Mo Chuan was not inside. The bedding on the bed was neat and tidy, like no one had slept in it. Damn, this Mo Chuan actually left. Chen Ning stomped her foot, filled with anger. Didn't he say he would keep his word? Could it be that Mo Chuan was an assassin and his words were like farts? If Chu Xiaoyang came to find her, how could she deal with him with her mediocre martial arts? Just as she was feeling vexed, bad news came one after another. "Young miss, His Highness. His Highness is here." Chun Tao panted as she ran in with a strange expression on her face. Because she didn't know if she should report the good news or the bad news. When His Highness appeared before, it was like seeing a golden phoenix fall from the sky, filled with nobility. But His Highness had been coming to the Flowing Cloud Pavilion a bit too often these past 2 days, but every time he left the Flowing Cloud Pavilion, his face would be as ugly as if he had eaten shit. It was clear that he had been bullied by the princess consort's side. The princess consort never gave His Highness a good expression. Since it was like this, she hoped that His Highness would not appear again. Otherwise, the two of them would become even worse and it would make things hard for the servants. Especially since she was feeling very guilty today. The princess consort had just brought back a man last night and His Highness had come early in the morning. It was clear that he was here to question the princess consort. Oh. His legs belong to him, he can come if he wants. Do you want this princess to go out and greet him? Chen Ning raised her brows. She had already expected that Chu Xiaoyang would come looking for her because there was no such thing as an impenetrable wall. The matter of her bringing a man into the Flowing Cloud Pavilion would eventually reach Chu Xiaoyang's ears. The entire palace was filled with Chu Xiaoyang's eyes and ears. The 2 guards that let them in yesterday would definitely report this news to Chu Xiaoyang. Yang had waiting here to come, he. Xiao Chin Umo came here later than she had expected. It would be great if Mo Chuan was here. Now that Mo Chuan was gone, she felt like she was alone. What would she do if this despicable man used violence on her? Chen Ning's eyes turned and she quickly returned to her room. She opened the wardrobe and grabbed 2 thunderbolt eggs and placed them in her pocket. If it really didn't work, she could only stake it all on one throw. It was better than waiting for death. Chapter 2:14. Chen Ning thought about it and put the thunderbolt egg back in the cabinet. Then she grabbed some makeup and smeared it all over her face before slowly walking out of the room. She bumped into Chu Xiaoyang. She looked up and lazily gave him a greeting. "Yo, what kind of wind blew your highness here this early in the morning?" The early morning sun shined down on her body. She had a head of long blue hair that reached her waist, making her waist look even more slender. Each strand of hair was shining. Her posture was lazy and her voice was soft. It had an indescribable charm to it, making one's heart skip a beat. Chu Xiaoyang's heart skipped a beat. When his eyes fell onto her face, his brows deeply knit together. He turned his head away in disgust and gave a cold snort. "Yo, your highness is quite angry after waking up. Was little sister not serving you well enough last night? Your highness should understand little sister. She is a person with a body, she can't withstand your storm. Although you are a man, you should know how to be gentle." Chen Ning pursed her lips and said with a smile. The surrounding people all took in a cold breath. The three maids all lowered their heads with red faces, not knowing what to do from this embarrassment. They were all shouting in their hearts, "God, the princess consort really has a big mouth, daring to say anything. This kind of words is enough to make people die from embarrassment." "Chen Ning, are you still a woman?" Chu Xiaoyang glared at her, filled with anger. He did not dare believe that there was this kind of woman in this world that would actually say such bold and presumptuous words. "Whether I'm a woman or not, can't your highness tell?" Your eyes must be for breathing." Chen Ning giggled as she looked up, looking at Chu Xiaoyang. She found that Chu Xiaoyang was still wearing the same black clothes from yesterday, but it was now gray, like it was covered in dust. His eyes were bloodshot and he had a tired expression, like he had not slept at all. "You!" Chu Xiaoyang was so angry that he gritted his teeth. He suppressed the anger that had rushed to his head with great difficulty and said in a cold voice, "Chen Ning, why aren't you dead yet? Is your highness disappointed that I'm not dead?" Ze, it seems like your highness' complexion is not good. How come you're covered in dust? Could it be that you were rejected by little sister yesterday? Did you stand outside the entire night? Eating in the open must not be a good feeling, your highness has already become so haggard in just one night. Chen Ning covered her lips and gave a gloating laugh. When she opened her mouth, Chu Xiaoyang couldn't help wanting to choke this woman to death. Her mouth was never forgiving, and the words that came out of her mouth hurt his ears. Humph. His highness really has no conscience. Did you know that our prince didn't sleep at all last night? He was looking for you the whole night. A young man dressed as a manservant standing behind Chu Xiaoyang suddenly raised his head and angrily looked at Chen Ning. "Xiao Shaoan Zi, scram. Xiao of Shaoan." Chu Xiaoyang shouted in a sharp voice before sending out a kick that sent Shaoan Zi tumbling. Shaoan Zi swallowed the words he was about to say back into his stomach as he quickly crawled out. Chen Ning was stunned and looked at Chu Xiaoyang with a suspicious gaze. He had been looking for her all night. Was he that kind of person? How could this be Chu Xiaoyang? Chapter 2:15. Chen Ning was stunned for a second before her lips curled into a cold smile. Just a moment ago, she was still a little touched, but then she understood. "I heard that His Highness has been looking for me all night." She suddenly raised her brows and slightly leaned in close to him. The sunlight was bright, but it could not hide the glow in her eyes. Chu Xiaoyang couldn't help looking into her eyes and a look of embarrassment flashed in his eyes. He did not even know if he should deny it before he heard her indifferent and sarcastic laugh. "Your Highness is probably looking for that horse, right? That is indeed a rare horse. His Highness loves horses like his life, so naturally he would be reluctant to part with that good horse. You can relax, I've brought the horse back, not a single hair is missing. I, Chen Ning, do not care about your things. After saying this, she took a few steps back, staying far away from him. Her lips curled into a cold smile and her eyes filled with disdain, as if he was just a pile of shit. Chen Ning. Chu Xiaoyang was finally enraged. He suddenly moved forward and grabbed her wrist, making her wrist bones crackle. Her brows knit together in pain, but she did not make a sound. Her eyes looked down and she did not look at him. That stubborn look made him even angrier. He grabbed her chin and forced her to look up, but she still did not look at him. Her long and curled eyelashes gently trembled, just like a butterfly's wings. This was the first time he found that her appearance was not without merit. Her eyes were very beautiful. This king's things, do you really care about them like this? You don't care about anything. He gave a cold laugh and his eyes turned cold. He slowly said, you don't care about this king's horse, you don't care about this king's princess golden crown, so you don't care about this king either. Do you believe that this king won't immediately divorce you? It's over, it's over. His Highness was truly angry this time. The servants present all held their breaths as they stared at this scene with wide eyes. Chen Tao and Xia He were so nervous that their hearts almost jumped out. Xiao Ru wanted to charge forward to save Chen Ning, but she was held back by the two of them. Divorce me. Chen Ning finally looked up and revealed a smile. Her eyes sparkled and sparkled. You have never been what I wanted. This princess has never been what I wanted. This King Ding Yuan Palace has never been my home. If you are willing to divorce me, I want to say to you with all my heart. Thank you. The entire place was silent and the atmosphere was heavy. Almost everyone could hear Chu Xiaoyang's heavy breathing. No one dared to make a sound because they all knew that His Highness was already on the verge of exploding with rage. A light touch would cause him to explode. Chen Tao and Xia He couldn't help breaking out in a cold sweat for Chen Ning. Only Xiao Ru looked at her young miss in worship, wanting to praise her. Well said. Chu Xiaoyang's chest felt like it was on fire, making him feel very uncomfortable. His fingers unknowingly tightened and Chen Ning's chin felt like it was going to break, but she looked into his eyes. There was no fear in her eyes, there was only indifference. In the past, it was you who insisted on marrying this king, even asking your father to ask the emperor for a marriage. Today you want this king to divorce you. What kind of person do you think this king is? Do you think this king is a rag that you can have and throw away whenever you want? Let me tell you, if you want this king to divorce you, you're dreaming. Chu Xiaoyang gritted his teeth, wishing he could swallow the woman in front of him. Rag? Chen Ning blinked her eyes and almost broke out in laughter. Chapter 216. In fact, he was no different from a rag in her eyes. Moreover, it was a rag that Chen Baiyun had used before, so she did not care about it at all. Even if this rag touched her, she would feel dirty. Alright, you are the king, so you have the final say. Whatever you want to do is up to you. If you feel like I'm an eyesore to you and little sister Baiyun, you can give me a divorce letter and I will immediately leave this place. Yeah. Your Highness, you're not willing to divorce me. Could it be that you like me? Chen Ning suddenly charmingly winked at Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes swept over her painted clown face and his heart filled with annoyance. He forcefully pushed her away and coldly said, like you. Only if this king becomes blind. Perhaps you'll become blind one day. Chen Ning whispered in a low voice. Then she raised her brows and smiled at Chu Xiaoyang as she said, Your Highness has been running around the flowing cloud pavilion these past few days. Aren't you afraid of little sister Baiyun being jealous? Chu Xiaoyang took a few deep breaths and the anger he had been provoked by Qin Ning slowly calmed down. He remembered his goal for coming here and the anger he had just calmed down once again surged up. Who is that man? His eyes were cold and filled with a monstrous amount of anger. Man? What man? Chen Ning blinked and asked despite knowing the answer. Stop pretending, it's the man you brought into the flowing cloud pavilion. Chu Xiaoyang was filled with rage. His eyes turned red and he looked like a man-eating lion. He did not sleep at all and had searched the capital city for an entire night with his servants, but he had found nothing. He never thought that when he returned to the palace, he would hear a piece of news. Not only was the Princess Qin Ning not dead, she had openly brought a black-clothed man into the palace and into the flowing cloud pavilion. Moreover, she did not come out for an entire night. His face was expressionless, but his hands were tightly clenched into fists. The veins on the back of his hands popped out and he did not stop at all as he charged at the flowing cloud pavilion. So your highness came to the flowing cloud pavilion to find a man. Qin Ning pursed her lips with a smile. Her eyes sparkled as she looked at him with a smile. It's a pity I'll have to disappoint your highness. The only man in the flowing cloud pavilion is your highness. Could it be that your highness came here on his own? He, this is interesting. Chu Xiaoyang was so angry that his hair stood up. He loudly roared out, Qin Ning, don't think that this king doesn't dare to hit you. If you don't hand over that man, this prince will take your life. My life is right here and you can take it whenever you want. However, if you want a man, I can only say sorry, the flowing cloud pavilion doesn't have any men. Qin Ning calmly said this. She was filled with confidence and her last sentence had a double meaning. It was a pity that the enraged Chu Xiaoyang could not hear it. He gritted his teeth and said, all right, just you wait. If this king finds that man, then you can all die together. He strode forward and searched the rooms one by one. His movements were as fast as a gust of wind. Humph, how boorish. You used so much strength and you still have the nerve to say that you don't hit women. Qin Ning rubbed her chin that was hurting from Chu Xiaoyang's grip and complained. Her voice was not loud, so she believed that Chu Xiaoyang could hear her. She didn't have the patience to wait for him, so she found a flower stand and sat down. After a while, Chu Xiaoyang came out with a dark face and an expressionless face. She was right. Other than him, there was no man in the flowing cloud pavilion. He had searched all the rooms, but there was not a single trace of a man living here. Chapter 217. Chu Xiaoyang's black python-embroidered boots stopped in front of Qin Ning. Qin Ning looked up and the shadow of the flower rack shined on her face. Her eyes sparkled as she smiled and squinted her eyes. Your highness is tired, do you want to rest for a bit? His eyes darkened as he firmly said, Qin Ning, don't forget your identity. You are this king's legal princess. If you dare do anything that will let this king down, this king will take your life. Qin Ning looked into his eyes and smiled as she asked in reply, oh, what kind of thing would let you down? For example, finding a man. Qin Ning. Chu Xiaoyang suddenly gave a loud roar as he stared right at her. If you dare make this king wear a green hat, this king will make you wish you were dead. As long as you are this king's woman, you can forget about having another man. After saying this, he suddenly turned around and left with large steps. Qin Ning looked at his back and curled her lips into a smile. She casually said, Ze, your highness cares about me this much, could it be that you've fallen in love with me? Her voice was blown into Chu Xiaoyang's ears by the wind. It was very pleasant to listen to. Chu Xiaoyang suddenly stopped and slowly turned around, walking back to her step by step. Qin Ning had a smile in her eyes as she met his cold gaze, not revealing a single trace of fear. This king is telling you, if you want this king to fall in love with you, you should reincarnate into a good body in your next life. Get up and come with me. He grabbed her arm and dragged her out of the room. Hey, where are you taking me? Chu Xiaoyang, a gentleman, uses his mouth and not his hands. If you drag things out like this and other people see it, wouldn't you lose face for your highness? Chen Ning's feet did not touch the ground as she was dragged by him. She was like an eagle catching a little chick, unable to resist at all. His large palm was like an iron pincer that tightly gripped her right arm. She was cursing in her heart, but she did not forget to say a few sarcastic words to him. Young miss, young miss. Xiao Ru broke free from Chen Tao and Xia He and chased after them, shouting as she chased. Stop. If a little girl like you dares to follow me, this king will crush you and give you to the dogs as dessert. Chu Xiaoyang suddenly turned around and glared at Xiao Ru like a tiger as he shouted in a sharp voice. Xiao Ru suddenly trembled and her eyes revealed a look of fear. Her feet paused for a second, but she still ran over to Chen Ning. Xiao Ru, stop. Don't come over, be obedient. Don't tell me you won't even listen to me. Chen Ning's face sunk. She knew that Chu Xiaoyang wasn't joking. If he was angered, he could do anything. Xiao Ru stopped and looked at Chen Ning in a daze. Tears began to fall from her eyes. Chen Ning smiled and said, Silly girl, His Highness just wants to take me to the horse track to teach me how to ride. It's not like we're going to be separated forever, so why are you crying? Stay here obediently and wait for me to come back. Chu Xiaoyang slightly lowered his head and stared at her. His eyes fell onto her slender and beautiful neck. Her skin was so thin that it was transparent, giving off a faint glow from the sunlight. King of Chu Chu Chen Ling 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 Ning, he, Xiao Chen Ling Ling Chu, of, and of Ling, Ling of King, Ning, I Chen Chen, Chen, how did you know that this king was going to teach you how to ride a horse? He said in a low voice. The strength in his hand unknowingly lessened, but he still held on to her hand without letting go. It was just a random guess. If it's true, can your highness let me change my clothes? I can't possibly go ride a horse like this, right? Chen Ning shrugged her shoulders and spoke in a light voice. Go. Chu Xiaoyang let go. Chapter 2:18. Chen Ning quickly changed into her hunting clothes. It was still the same light blue riding clothes from yesterday. When she appeared, it made people's eyes light up, as if a cloud was floating in the sky. Chu Xiaoyang narrowed his eyes and gave a cold snort. He looked away in disdain. She was this ugly. Even if she was wearing a phoenix feather robe, she was still an ugly monster. The two of them walked in the direction of the horse track. On the way, Chu Xiaoyang had a dark face and did not say a word. It was unknown what he was angry about. He had a frown on his face. His eyes were dark and his nose was straight. Although he was angry, a handsome man was still a handsome man. Even his angry appearance was very pleasing to the eye. It was a pity he had a human's face but a beast's heart. It was a waste of this unparalleled beauty. Chen Ning looked at him a few times before indifferently looking away. She began to enjoy the scenery around her. Are you peeking at this king? Although Chu Xiaoyang was not looking, he could still feel her gaze. His heart was filled with annoyance, but there was also a trace of pride. Chen Ning casually responded with a sound. Looking was looking, there was no need for her to deny it. What do you think of this king's appearance? He asked in an arrogant voice. Looks. Not bad. Chu Xiaoyang's eyelids jumped up and he repeated, not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Chu Xiaoyang narrowed his eyes. So. The veins on Chu Xiaoyang's forehead popped out again as he angrily glared at Chen Ning. This ugly monster girl, did she even have eyes? When Chu Xiaoyang walked on the street, who wouldn't praise him for his incomparably handsome and graceful appearance? Since this king's appearance is not good enough for you, why did you block this king's horse's head in the street? Why did you fight to the death to marry this king? His lips curled into a cold smile. That was because Chen Ning was blind back then. Chen Ning blurted out without any hesitation. You! Chu Xiaoyang angrily raised his fist. Chen Ning suddenly smiled and pointed up. That peach blossom is really pretty, can you pick it for me? Chu Xiaoyang's hand in the air touched the peach blossom branch. The pink flowers were blooming all over the branch and he did not know why he had picked a peach blossom, preparing to give it to her. Her brows bent and she reached out with a smile to receive it. He suddenly reacted. Didn't he want to hit her just now? Why did it seem like he was picking a flower for her? Humph. He threw the flower to the ground and stomped on it, turning it into dust in the blink of an eye. Yeah, it's a pity on a good flower. If Bai Yun Mimi knew that your highness is such a ruthless person, I wonder if she would still be loyal to your highness. Chen Ning walked past him and Bai Chin Ning nodded. Flower. Bai, flower. He. Chen, as. Chen as. Chu Xiaoyang looked at her swaying figure in a daze. He brought his right hand to his nose and there was still the scent of peach blossoms on it. Was this still the Chen Ning who would not marry anyone but him and who would seek death? She wouldn't even look back at him now. Even when she looked at him, her eyes were filled with disdain and disgust, just like how he looked at her. Chu Xiaoyang's heart suddenly felt like it was filled with cotton. He could disdain her, but how could she? Chapter 219. Yeah. Seeing the horse field's gate in the distance, Chen Ning suddenly stopped and gave a regretful sigh. What's wrong? Did you lose your courage from yesterday and don't dare ride it anymore? Chu Xiaoyang curled his lips and his eyes were filled with disdain. Who says I'm afraid? I just remembered that I came in a hurry and forgot to bring the date red horse. How about I go back and get the horse? Chen Ning turned around. What a joke. There are horses in the horse field that you can choose to ride. You're not thinking of going back to get the horse, are you trying to find an excuse to leave? Chu Xiaoyang gave a cold laugh and then said, if you don't dare ride it, then you can tell the eldest princess that you almost fell off the horse and died. Then you can withdraw from the big hunt and save this king's face. He wanted her to withdraw so that he would never see her hateful figure in the horse field again. Your highness is looking down on us from the crack of the door and looking down on us. I think in your highness' heart, us women are weak girls that can be blown away by the wind, right? Chen Ning brushed her hair that had been blown to her chest by the wind. She had come in a hurry and had not tied her hair up. Thinking that she would be riding a horse in a bit, she casually broke off a peach blossom branch and there were 3-4 peach blossoms on it. She twisted it 3 times and tightly tied her hair on top of her head. That peach blossom branch was like a beautiful peach blossom hairpin, looking very charming. Humph, ugly people always make trouble. Chu Xiaoyang gave a cold snort. Chen Ning was not angry. After all, a dog's mouth could not spit out ivory. She raised her brows and looked at him in a provocative manner. Your Highness, do you dare to make a bet with me? What bet? He stood in front of her. His tall figure cast a shadow over her as he revealed a look of arrogance and disdain. We'll bet on who can hunt the most game on the day of the big hunt. How about it? Does your highness dare to make this bet with a weak little girl like me? Ha, 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 ha. Chu Xiaoyang looked like he had heard the funniest joke as he laughed into the sky. Is your highness afraid? Chen Ning deliberately provoked him. Chen Ning. Chu Xiaoyang suddenly looked down. His brows were lowered as he hid the smile on his face. Don't think that this king doesn't know what you're thinking. You want that date red horse, right? This bastard highness, he was actually quite clever. Chen Ning whispered in her heart, but her smile did not diminish. Her eyes sparkled as she smiled and said, "Yeah, you've actually seen through me. Your highness is truly smart. Since your highness has seen through my thoughts, then you won't agree to this bet, right?" Humph. This king's thoughts are not something you can guess. This king's bet. If you can beat this king on the day of the hunting meet, that date red horse will be yours. But if you lose to this king, what do you think this king will do to you? Chu Xiaoyang slightly narrowed his eyes and looked over Chen Ning. Though her face still looked grotesque, he was gradually getting used to it, and finding it less glaring. Is not your highs, he, King Chen, he want me? Chu Isn say he is, S name. Pooh. Chu Xiaoyang could not hold it in. He choked on his own saliva and began to cough. Of course he knew that she was doing this on purpose, but he could not get angry. Not only was he not angry, he almost broke out in laughter from her exaggerated expression. You're dreaming. You want to be this king's woman. In your next life. He tried his best to control the smile on his lips and put on a serious face. Then many thanks for your highness grace. Chen Ning's words made his mood that had just become better immediately turn dark. Chapter 220. Listen well to this king. If you lose, you will kneel in front of the palace's gates and apologize to this king. Then you will never step out of the flowing cloud pavilion for the rest of your life. How about it, do you want to take this bet? Chu Xiaoyang gave a dark smile. If she dared to take this bet, then she would forever kneel in front of him. Like a dog, she would only have him as her master, forever. Because, he would definitely win. He stared right into her eyes, hoping that she would nod in agreement. He really wanted to see that scene, he really wanted it. All right, I'll take this bet. Chen Ning nodded without any hesitation. Then she turned around and walked into the horse track. She walked a few steps and turned around to see that Chu Xiaoyang was still standing there. She raised her brows and said, "Your Highness, I made a bet with you. When you teach me how to ride a horse, you can't cut corners. You have to seriously teach me, otherwise even if you win that day, it would be an unfair victory. Do you think this king is that kind of scheming person?" Humph, this king will personally teach you how to ride a horse in a bit. I'll tell you the truth, your riding skills yesterday were terrible. After Chu Xiaoyang said this, he walked into the horse track. When the horse grooms saw His Highness arrive, they all kneeled down to welcome Chu Xiaoyang. Bring this king's jade flower horse over. After Chu Xiaoyang said this, the horse grooms ran over to bring the horse. The jade flower horse was Chu Xiaoyang's favorite horse. He rubbed the jade flower horse's head and looked over the horses in the stable. Then he said in a deep voice, "Give the princess consort that blue and white porcelain horse." Hearing this, the horse grooms dug his ears because he suspected that he had heard wrong. The blue and white porcelain horse was that blue and white horse. Other than the jade flower horse, it was one of Chu Xiaoyang's favorite horses. He never allowed anyone else to ride it. Now His Highness had given the order to give the princess consort this horse. He hesitated for a moment, not daring to move. "Are you deaf? Why aren't you going?" Chu Xiaoyang glared at the horse grooms. "Your Highness, this servant did not hear clearly. Which horse did you say you wanted to give to the princess consort?" The horse grooms bravely asked. "Blue, white, porcelain. Did you hear me clearly?" Chu Xiaoyang's face turned cold as he spoke word for word. Listen, listen clearly. This servant will go get the horse. The horse groom trembled in fear. He quickly ran over to take the horse and respectfully handed the reins over to Qin Ning. Such a beautiful horse. This blue and white porcelain horse had been washed clean. Its fur was glossy, and its body was tall and its legs were long. The saddle on its body shone brightly. With one glance, one could tell that it was an extraordinary horse. Compared to the date red horse she picked yesterday, it was like heaven and earth. But in comparison, Qin Ning still liked the date red horse she picked, otherwise she wouldn't have made that bet with Chu Xiaoyang that she would definitely lose. But since he was willing, Chu Xiao of his own, of her own, of his of her of. Chen, your highness, Chen said. Chu of Chen of his Chu. Chu. Chu of Chen of Yang of the king. Of this. Of Chen of. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes were filled with fire seeing this. He wished he could slap this weak beast to death with a single palm. Your highness, let's begin. After Qin Ning finished comforting the blue and white porcelain, she looked up at Chu Xiaoyang and said. If you want to learn how to ride a horse, you have to first get on the horse. The way you got on the horse yesterday was wrong, it was all wrong. You saw clearly how this king got on the horse. Chapter 221. Good. The horse grooms loudly cheered as they tried to flatter his highness. Good my ass. Qin Ning was silently cursing in her heart, but she still had a smile on her face. Your highness, your movements were too fast and I couldn't see it clearly. Can I trouble you to do it again? All right. Chu Xiaoyang dismounted and grabbed the saddle with both hands. He said, this is your first time mounting a horse, so you can hold on to the saddle and mount like this. He once again mounted the horse and his posture was even more elegant than the first time. It was still too fast and I couldn't see it clearly. Can you slow it down a bit? Chu Xiaoyang looked at her and impatiently said, why are you so stupid? Although he said this, he still dismounted the horse again. Then he deliberately slowed down his movements and demonstrated very seriously. Did you see it clearly? I saw it clearly. Qin Ning nodded, but her heart was secretly wondering. This bastard highness was quite patient. Was he planning something bad again? In fact, she had already remembered Chu Xiaoyang's first time mounting the horse, but she was afraid that Chu Xiaoyang would trick her, so she made him mount the horse 3 times. Now that she saw that his movements were the same 3 times, she finally relaxed. Try it now. If you can't learn it, then don't blame this king for being impolite. This king has never had a stupid disciple. Chu Xiaoyang jumped off the horse with a cold expression and stood in front of Qin Ning. Who would want to be your disciple? Qin Ning silently cursed. Her hands held onto the saddle and she mounted the horse. Her posture was exactly the same as Chu Xiaoyang's, but she was not as skilled. This ugly monster, she learned quite quickly. Even Chu Xiaoyang, who was so picky, could not find any mistakes. Humph. He was picking bones from an egg as he coldly said, your speed is even slower than a snail. Practice this 10 times. If you're still this slow, then find someone else to teach you. What are you being so arrogant for? Qin Ning secretly cursed in her heart, but she still earnestly practiced it 10 times. After 10 times, her movements on the horse were comparable to Chu Xiaoyang's. Chu Xiaoyang had an expressionless face the entire time, not saying a single word of praise. Qin Ning did not care about his praise anyway, she just wanted to earnestly learn what she wanted. After mounting the horse, straighten your upper body and look forward. Relax your arms and hold the reins. No, no, you can't hold the reins like this. Hold the left reins and hold the right reins with the right reins. No, no. It's not like this, you have to go from the bottom to the top. You have it like this. Woman, how can you be so stupid? Chu Xiaoyang was impatient. He grabbed her hand and wrapped the reins around her hand. Use your thumb to hold it down, don't let go. Chen Ning held the horse's reins, but he did not let go. His large palm was still holding her hand, holding her white and delicate hand in his palm. She was slightly surprised. She looked up at him and asked doubtfully, "Is this the right way to hold the reins?" Chu Xiaoyang didn't know what he was thinking as he fell into a daze. Being asked by her, he suddenly came back to his senses and found that he was still holding her hand. He quickly pulled his hand back like he was holding a poisonous snake. Chen Chen. Chen Chen Chen. Chen. She. Ning Chen Chen. But this was even better. It was best if he hated her more and more. When the time came, he would just give her a divorce letter and she would be free. Thinking of this, she couldn't help secretly cursing this male-dominated era. Why was it that married women could only ask a man to divorce their wife, but they couldn't divorce their husband? That's right, divorce husband. Her eyes suddenly lit up. It was like a window had opened. Chapter 222. However, when she searched through the memories of the original owner, she immediately became listless like a deflated balloon. In this unfair era, there had never been a case of a woman divorcing her husband. Only when a woman's status was higher than a man's could they initiate a divorce, but they still needed the man to agree to it. For example, if a princess wanted to divorce her husband, not only did she need the emperor's agreement, she also needed the husband's agreement. This was simply a serious discrimination against women, it was too unfair. Chen Ning was filled with indignation. She couldn't help glaring at Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Xiaoyang was confused by her glare. When he wanted to stare back, he suddenly remembered that he had strangely held her hand and held it for a while. He couldn't help feeling embarrassed and looked away. He gave a soft cough and was prepared to continue teaching her riding when he suddenly heard a tender voice call out from not far away. "Your Highness." He and Chen Ning turned around to look. They saw that Chen Baiyun had brought Lan Xiang to the horse track at an unknown time. She had a tender smile on her face as she affectionately looked at Chu Xiaoyang. Lan Xiang was standing behind her, but she was looking at Chen Ning with an unfriendly gaze. Chen Baiyun had dressed herself up today. Her hair was tied up high and she only wore a simple pearl hairpin. She was wearing a white cloud brocade shirt and a pink cloud-colored skirt. She was walking with a graceful posture as she slowly walked over to Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes lit up and he couldn't help walking over. There was a look of pleasant surprise in his eyes, but he complained, "Yun, why are you here? The horse track is windy, why aren't you wearing more clothes?" He scolded Lan Xiang, "What kind of servant are you? You don't even know how to take care of your master?" Lan Xiang quickly bowed and handed over the brocade cloak in her hands. Chu Xiaoyang personally tied it up for Chen Baiyun and thoughtfully said, "You're not cold now, right?" "I'm not cold anymore." "Many thanks, Your Highness, you're really good to Yun." Chen Baiyun revealed a tender smile and leaned into Chu Xiaoyang's embrace, allowing him to stroke her hair. She lowered her eyelids, concealing the cold light and hatred in her eyes. She had clearly seen the scene just now. Her beloved man was actually holding hands with that cheap woman. As expected, that cheap woman had used this chance to seduce His Highness. If she hadn't arrived in time, that cheap woman would have succeeded. Your Highness, this is not good. Elder sister is watching from the side." Chen Baiyun quickly left Chu Xiaoyang's embrace. Her face was filled with a shy blush as she lowered her head in embarrassment. Elder sister, it was this little sister's mistake that disturbed your highness and elder sister. I hope that elder sister won't blame you and her. I don't blame you, of course I don't blame you. Little sister and prince are deeply in love. As your elder sister, I am happy for you. Chen Ning completely ignored the two of them hugging each other. She had no interest in watching this White Lotus act. If she wanted to watch a show, she might as well go to a pear garden. Even the servants there were better at acting than this White Lotus. Chu Xiaoqin, she looked at Chen's expression. Chen of as she looked Chen's eyes, Chin. She spoke carelessly, and her expression was relaxed and carefree, as if she didn't care at all. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.